Buddy, hello. Hope we're all ready to go die in Iran, bro. Time to go die in Iran. This is mind-boggling to me. I didn't think Trump was going to actually bomb Iran. I was like, it sure seems like he is. It seems like we're going there, but there's no way. There's no way Trump's going to fucking betray everything he ran on. Completely splinter the whole MAGA movement. And become George Bush 2.0. There's no way. There's no way. Well, here we are. Oh, I know, it's not war. We're just bombing them, guys. It's not war. We just bombed them. The amount of cope coming from, I guess, the cult now, the MAGA cult, right? The MAGA people who are making it clear they're actual cult members. We knew there was always going to be the MAGA cult, right? Like, there's a lot of people in MAGA that aren't a cult, and that's nice to see as well. It's nice to see people sticking to their guns and being like, this is not what I voted for. I voted for a America first, no new wars situation. And this is the exact opposite of that. Yeah, like what you're doing with the border, great. The tax cut, there's a lot of things that are very underwhelming. But this is something that's like, yeah, I think I'm going to have to step back if we're just going to, take on the neocon fucking strategy of regime change. And yesterday everybody was like, "Oh, this is not regime change. We're just gonna hit them." And this people actually were saying shit like, "This is the end of war right now. We just ended World War III." Oh, you dumbasses, dude. This is more escalation. That's all this is, right? So now Iran's gonna. They already did last night. They bombed Israel again. And then now they're gonna probably do some more shit because we just bombed them, so they're at war with us in their mind. You can think we're not at war with them. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't. If another country goes to war with you, you're at war. And we bombed Iran. And they now consider themselves at war with us. So we are at war with Iran, whether you want to fucking believe it or not. And then you wonder, where's Russia? I think there was already, Russia said some shit like they will provide them with a nuclear bomb. This might sound crazy to some of you. People are always wondering, how do you get peace in the Middle East? Some people will, again, think this is crazy. But maybe, I don't know, you just gave every country a fucking nuclear bomb in the Middle East, they'd stop attacking each other. I don't know. Maybe then they'd all feel secure and stop. Because that's kind of what happens when people have nukes. They stop attacking each other. It's funny how we only seem to attack the countries that don't have nukes. All we're doing is incentivizing these fucking countries to want to get a nuke. I think there's even like the betting markets are already showing like people are betting now that the likelihood of Iran getting a nuke has just gone up. Of course. And then people will say like, oh, well, Iran's terrible. And I don't give a fuck. There's a lot of terrible regimes. But we've given them reason to not like us. And it goes all the way back to what, 58? Operation Ajax, where we did regime change on Iran. And then we wonder why they're like death to America. Now go look before that, before Operation Ajax, were they saying death to America? Did they give a fuck about America? They never attacked us. Terrorism wasn't a thing. Well, we start fucking around, putting in puppet fucking leaders so we can get at their oil. Oh yeah, now they hate us. And then we continue to do this. We continue to fuck with them and get in their business. Oh, I wonder why they hate us. I wonder why. That's no excuse. Islamic extremism is scary and is dangerous, but we've only made them more extreme and more dangerous by fucking with them. Put yourself in their shoes. If some country was coming over here, if Russia came over here and played a bunch of games and got some Russian fucking puppet to be our president, and then all of a sudden all of our oil is going to some British fucking company, and it's like, dude, it's just common sense, but somehow people don't get it, and somehow people have a short-term memory when it comes to, we've already tried this shit, and every time we do, it just gets worse. So yeah, we'll start it off from yesterday. I didn't get a chance to stream yesterday, so this is what surprised all of us yesterday. We're all just chilling Saturday night. We're like, whatever, man, have a good. And then, we're at war with Iran. Here's Trump. We have completed our very successful attack on 3 nuclear sites in Iran, which is debatable whether it was successful. We'll get into that, including Fordow, Natanz, and Esfahan. All planes are now outside of Iran airspace. A full payload of bombs was dropped on the primary site, Fordow. All planes are safely on their way home. Congratulations to our great American warriors. There is not another military in the world that could have done this. Now is the time for peace. Thank you for your attention to this matter. That's the funniest part. That's the funniest part. Some of the memes, I think I have some of these pulled up. Some of the memes that came out of this. Oh, where did it go? How many of these bookmark things do I have open? Yeah, we're going to go over some shit I got open here. Let me. Some of them, I got to get to my, no, I think I shared it on my profile. Let me go to my profile. Some of these memes were funny. Because it just sums it up. Nothing sums it up better than a meme like this one. You know, Trump shoots Iran. Now is the time for peace. Okay. This sums it up beautifully. It's just so fucking stupid, okay? And then, you know, I said we peaceful now. Yeah, you just made it to where now Iran has to retaliate. And you just escalated it. It's like the weird propaganda, like this is a peaceful bombing. This is like straight out of leftist bullshit, dude. It's like it's weird. It's like, again, it's like I woke up in a different world, dude, where everything MAGA stood for is the exact opposite now. It's very strange. Here's a good one. Bombing a country doesn't mean you're at war with them. It's something even Orwell thought would be too over the top. But yeah. There's a bunch of. I mean, I made a simple comment yesterday. Here, and I'll show you some of the responses I'm getting. Some of these very, very lame comebacks that are just not. They're just cope. So disappointing. The exact opposite of what I voted for, which is 547 comments, likes on one of my tweets. That's politics and not a fucking supercut meme. Is actually a lot on X. So that tells me a lot of people feel this way. I think it's like over 70% of the MAGA base feels this way. But they're going to pretend like we're not MAGA anymore. We're like pretend MAGA. It's like, no. We are real MAGA. I don't know what the fuck y'all just became. We are real America first, no new wars. Y'all just morphed into some shit that's not MAGA anymore. And then you're going to say we're not MAGA? Weird. So let's look at some of these comments here. There's Andy. There's Trump being really nice and holding Netanyahu's seat. I don't see any problem with that. All right, that is, I'm from Texas. Those are proper manners, We hold doors open, pull back seats for people. Here's a Ryan Mike. If you were paying attention instead of listening to all the shills, you would have known this is exactly what you voted for. Yeah, and all the the people that are obsessed with Jewish people are coming out of the woodwork. And you guys are not helping your own cause. We're out here trying to focus on, hey, America shouldn't be involved in wars. Israel can start whatever war it's want. I don't give a fuck. But and then they, the people that are just obsessed with the Jews and like everything's Jew, they kind of ruin the whole fucking message, because then it's like, oh, they're just racist. They're just racist. So the people that constantly return fire with, oh, well, you guys just hate the Jews. You're just anti-Semitic. Well, people like you help that argument, which is a bullshit argument that they're hiding behind now. Because now it's like, oh, you don't want to die for Iran? Oh, you're an anti-Semite. I don't know. Some of you guys are the worst, your own worst enemy, the way you behave. Let me see here. So a lot of people, yeah, me too. And then here's the one. So you're cool with Iran having nukes? Yeah, actually I am. I'm totally fine with Iran having nukes. I think every country should be able to do whatever the fuck it wants to do. If a country wants to have nukes, they can have nukes. Why can we have nukes and they can't? Oh no, they're psychopaths. They're just going to start nuking the whole. No, that's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. North Korea's got nukes now. North Korea probably feeling pretty good and nice and safe now with their nukes, and are probably calming down a little bit. They're not just going to start nuking the world, guys. They get their nukes because they don't feel safe without them, because every other country has them. And when you don't have nukes, you'll get invaded by some big shit country like what's happened many times before. So yeah, Iran, have all the fucking nukes you want. Sorry if that's an unpopular take. I think that would create more peace in the Middle East than any of this shit we're doing. If every one of these countries had their own fucking nuke, they'd probably stop fucking with each other. I don't know. Wild theory. I know, it's crazy. Okay, this is what you voted for, pussy. And then, yeah, now there's the people trying to say, this is what Trump ran on the whole time. And it's like they're trying to change history. It's ridiculous because no, this is not what Trump ran on. Just because he said Iran can't have nukes, that doesn't mean he didn't say I'm going to bomb Iran to stop them from having nukes. No, that just meant what people have been saying forever. We're going to negotiate diplomatically to make sure Iran doesn't get nukes. If he would have said I'm bombing Iran, I would have said, oh well, shit, I can't vote for this guy. This is neocon shit. That's not what he said. In fact, the only reason I even jumped on the Trump train in 2015 was because he went so fucking hard on the neocons and the George Bush and the forever wars and the mistake that Iraq was. And it was like, oh, okay, this is a new movement. This isn't your old school Republican neocon movement. This is something else. And I like what I'm hearing. Fast forward to 2025. Oh, I guess I was wrong. I guess the neocons won again. The neocons somehow got in there. And now they're running things again. It's very strange. It almost makes me think like maybe the assassination attempts might have something to do with this. Like all of a sudden you almost kill him and now he's like willing to be your little bitch. Kind of, I don't know, just a wild theory. Can't, it's not provable. Probably false, but makes me wonder. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the show. Let's hit the thumbs up if you can, if you have the ability to do that. That would be nice. Also, super chats, membership, subscribe, blah, blah, blah in the description. Love you guys. Thank you for showing up. We'll be here for a while. We got a lot of shit to go over. Trying to set up some debates this week. I don't know if I'm going to be able to. I'm trying to get some guys on InfoWars on, and maybe I might just interview the InfoWars guys. I'm thinking Chase. Hopefully I can find some time to get Chase. He can find the time to come on here, Chase Geyser. But I'd also like to set up a debate. I want to get some, anti-America military involvement in Iran debating pro, I want to see some debates. I think those debates need to be had because I think we'll see whose side makes more sense when we have just an open, honest debate. This sucks for everyone, dude. New Pink Trip vid. This is probably a bot. To the exact of what I voted for. Outro, Joe Rogan heavy breathing and ice bath. You lost a fan today, Mr. Tripp. Okay. You should try writing that again in a way that makes any fucking sense. Yeah, just stick the funny edits, dude. Somebody always says that. It's like, oh, okay. I'll do what you tell me to do, Mr. Random Person in the comment section. If you voted for Trump, then yes, you did vote for this. Shame on every American that did. And then also the Trump derangement syndrome people they're loving this. They're like, oh, we told you Trump was. It's like, okay, yeah, like Kamala was going to be better. Trump's still better at the end of the day. Trump is still better than Kamala. Probably not better than a Rand Paul. Be nice if we had a Ron Paul option for president. Maybe Tommy Massey. He might be it. Some of these comments just, yeah, let me see. Am I in my own post? Oh yeah, here we go. He's only been saying Iran can't have a nuclear bomb for decades, you clown. This is like the biggest cope they've been making. Like, oh, he's always said he's going to do this. Like, ignore everything else he ran on about being against the forever wars and no new wars. Just ignore all of that just because he said Iran can't get a bomb. Okay, yeah. We all should have known, right? This is just after the fact, changing history, fucking bullshit. Congrats, you have potential to befriend AOC now. The funny thing is, we're finding out what we've always known is that these people that we have massive disagreements with, the Don Lemons, the AOCs, every now and then we might land on the same side as them. That's just kind of how things work. Nobody really lines up 100% agreeing or 100% disagreeing. Now, do I trust them? No. They're just saying this shit. I mean, you're handing a gift over to the Democrats right now. Like, you're going to lose the midterms, and you're probably going to hand the presidency back to the Democrats because now they have something to run on that's going to resonate, which they had nothing. They were literally going bankrupt, and you just gave them the biggest gift in the fucking world. Anyway, so yeah. A bunch of copers, man. A bunch of copers. So, like, we're finding out who the real people are within the MAGA movement. The people that really want no new wars. The people that really want to put America first. And the people who are just cult members, who are just Trump cultists. And the sneaky neocons who were smart enough to go from being never Trumpers to kissing Trump's ass for the last 7-8 years now. and finally winning him over and having him do their business and do their bidding. It's wonderful, Trump. Wonderful. I don't know, man. Maybe you just got too old. Maybe you just got too old, but this is the Trump I want back. Okay, let me, doop. I have this saved here. This is the Trump I want back, and this is the moment Trump won me over. I'm pretty sure this was 2015, maybe it was 2016. And I was like, I never thought I would vote for a Republican. I hated fucking Bush with a passion. I hated what they did to this country. And I was like, oh, okay. Now this is actually a Republican I can vote for. But what he's done now, he's going to drive people like me out, which is probably great for the old school Democrat and Republicans. They don't really want the new Trump voter that came in to stay. I think they want to demotivate them and get them out of the process because they're not good for the old school establishment. But yeah, what happened to this Trump? And let's play it. Let's play it.
On Monday, George W. Bush will campaign in South Carolina for his brother. As you said tonight, and you've often said, the Iraq War and your opposition to it was a sign of your good judgment. In 2008, in an interview with Wolf Blitzer talking about President George W. Bush's conduct of the war, you said you were surprised that Democratic leader Nancy Pelosi didn't try to impeach him. You said, quote, which personally I think would have been a wonderful thing, close quote. When you were asked what you meant by that, you said, for the war. For the war. He lied. He got us into the war with lies. Do you still believe President Bush should have been impeached?
First of all, I have to say, as a businessman, I get along with everybody. I have business all over the world.
I miss this Trump. This Trump's gone.
I know so many other people in the audience. And by the way, I'm a self-funder. I have my wife and I have my son. That's all I have. I don't have this. So let me just tell you, I get along with everybody, which is my obligation to my company, to myself, etc. Obviously, the war in Iraq was a big, fat mistake, all right? Now, you can take it any way you want, and it took Jeb Bush, if you remember at the beginning of his announcement, when he announced for president, took him 5 days. He went back. It was a mistake. It wasn't a mistake. Took him 5 days before his people told him what to say, and he ultimately said it was a mistake. The war in Iraq, we spent $2 trillion, thousands of lives. We don't even have it. Iran is taking over Iraq with the second largest oil reserves in the world. Obviously, it was a mistake. So George Bush made a mistake. We can make mistakes, but that one was a beauty. We should have never been in Iraq. We have destabilized the Middle East.
But so you still think he should be impeached?
I think it's my turn, isn't it?
You do whatever you want. You call it whatever you want. I want to tell you, they lied.
Okay.
They said there were weapons of mass destruction. There were none, and they knew there were none. There were no weapons of mass destruction.
All right.
This is when I was like, holy shit, I love this guy. Before this, I was like, Trump's a joke. It's a joke. It's a joke. And I kind of like Bernie a little bit, but I'm not really into this. Socialism seems kind of, and then Trump came along, and this is why he won. A lot of people felt exactly like me. They're like, oh, so there is an option besides George Bush and fucking Hillary Clinton, or in this case, it was Jeb Bush. You know, there is an option between the forever wars that Clinton and Bush will bring us, and it's Trump. And apparently, we were right for a little while, but I don't know what fucking happened to this guy.
When a member on the stage's brother gets attacked,
I got about 5 or
6.
Do I get to do it 5 or 6 times or just once responding to that? So here's the deal. I'm sick.
Zudi, Trump hasn't changed. Trump just did something that is really fucking stupid. I could be wrong. Maybe this won't lead to more escalation, but what's going to happen, in my opinion, is that Iran's going to respond, and then we're going to have no choice but to respond again. And then it's going to keep escalating until it's at complete regime change, which everybody said was a joke. This is just one part. Well, Trump's already fucking hinting at regime change, which we will get to in a second. But I want to finish this so we have context of what Trump ran on, what the original MAGA movement was about, so people can stop trying to change history and say that, oh, we was always going to bomb Iran.
Sick and tired of Barack Obama blaming my brother for all of the problems that he's had. And frankly, I could care less about the insults that Donald Trump gives to me. It's blood sport for him. He enjoys it, and I'm glad he's happy about it.
But I am $22 million
sick and tired of him going after my family. My dad is the greatest man alive in my mind. And while Donald Trump was building a reality TV show, my brother was building a security apparatus to keep us safe, and I'm proud of what he did. And he's had the gall to go after my
World Trade
mother.
Center came
He's
down
had the
during
gall
your
to go
brother's
after
reign.
my mother.
Remember that.
Hold on.
Let me finish this. He's had the gall to go after my mother.
This is when they were filling all of the. I mean, it was all just neocons basically. They would fill the whole debate with just neocons, and then Trump came in and built a whole new movement that was people on the left, people on the right, people on the center. It wasn't just neocons, man. Yeah.
It's not keeping
Look, I
us
won
safe.
the lottery when I was.
But okay, apparently they're still running things, which was my biggest complaint in the first term. Too many neocons in his administration. Still a complaint in the second term. And now it's like, oh, okay, so yeah, neocons are running things.
Born 63 years ago and looked up and I saw my mom. My mom is the strongest woman I know.
She should
This
be
is
running.
not about my family or his family.
So yeah, I miss this Trump. He's gone. He's now dead. And there's a new Trump that's really old, completely out of touch, and listening to the wrong fucking people. He completely forgot what his own movement was about. Completely forgot. Where did I leave off here? Okay, let's see what else we got. Here's Steve Bannon. You're kicking over a horn. I mean, even Steve Bannon's against this. She's like, thank God. Thank God Steve is against this.
No matter how you try to do it, and the discernment that President Trump is clearly doing as commander-in-chief, you're kicking over a hornet's nest, right? I mean, this is as bad a place in the world as ever. And this is our third turn here since the beginning of this century. This century's defined America as Middle East wars.
The Persian Empire is not Iraq, okay? Like, I mean, this is a very, very... you know what's interesting? I watched... I know that everybody freaks out about the handful of clips they see go online, but I watched the entire 2 hours of Tucker Carlson and Ted Cruz's interview. And one of the clips that did go viral was when Tucker was asking him about the population and the demographics. Maybe not the most important moment.
I thought it was vitally important. If you don't know anything about it, come on, man.
But the fact is, you're talking about a country that has 90 million people, 92 million people. That is as big as, I mean, it's bigger than Italy. It's bigger than Germany. It's bigger than
in
France.
size. It's 3 times the size of Texas.
Right.
This is a massive place.
It's like one of the top 10 countries population-wise worldwide.
Like, it ain't Iraq.
Right. It ain't Iraq.
Right.
Like, this is not going to be okay walking apart.
No.
And they're going to fight back.
And they've been, listen, that's what I call them Persians. They dropped the CIA name Iran. Yes, they got other groups, but they're Persians. This is the same group against the Romans and the Greeks and then the Romans.
Yeah, so, yeah, this is not Iraq. 90 million fucking people. That's a lot of people. And aren't most of their major cities bordered by giant fucking... Isn't their country just surrounded by giant fucking mountains too? Kind of like Afghanistan? And aren't they already... we're going to get into it. Let's keep going. So, this is according to Iranian sources, so take this with a grain of salt. It's hard to tell if it was destroyed, if it wasn't destroyed, but Iranian sources now confirm Fordo is intact. Only 2 munitions struck surface-level access points. No deep penetration, no cascade collapse, no reactor kill. Fordo was built to withstand nuclear war. A single flyby doesn't erase hardened bunkers buried 80 meters deep behind reinforced mountain rock. This wasn't a successful strike. It was a narrative op aimed at markets, voters, and momentum, but the physics of Fordo do not bend to spin. I can't confirm this. I mean, how are we going to know? It's Iran's word versus our word. Okay. Iranian official, nuclear sites not damaged beyond repair. Their nuclear program continues. But yeah, we saved the world, guys. We saved the world by kicking this hornet's nest. And this hornet's nest is now going to work their ass off to get a nuke as fast as fucking possible. Good job. Good job. That's the way to do it. That's the way to do it, guys. Yeah, Israel was happy with this, obviously. They wanted this, and they got it.
Congratulations, President Trump. Your bold decision to target Iran's nuclear facilities with the awesome and righteous might of the United States.
What volume is low as fuck? My volume or these videos, which I have already maxed out as high as it can go? I mean, some of these videos are just low, dude.
Will change history.
Here, I'll turn
Operation Rising Lion,
my computer
Israel
volume.
has done truly amazing things. But in tonight's action against Iran's nuclear facilities, America has been truly unsurpassed. It has done what no other country on earth could do. History will record that President Trump acted to deny the world's most dangerous regime the world's most dangerous weapons. His leadership today has created a pivot of history that can help lead the Middle East and beyond to a future of prosperity and peace. President Trump and I often say, peace through strength. First comes strength, then comes peace. And tonight, President Trump and the United States acted with a lot of strength. President Trump, I thank you. The people of Israel thank you. The forces of civilization thank you. God bless America. God bless Israel. And may God bless our unshakable alliance, our unbreakable faith.
Look, I used to not give a shit about Netanyahu. I didn't even think about him. I didn't have an opinion on him. I'm starting to not like the guy. I'm just putting it out there. I think he's doing a terrible job. I think he's leading Israel down the same stupid path that America went down after 9/11. And Israel's it's not going to be good for Israel in the long run. It's not going to create a more peaceful world for Israel. This is just a mistake, dude. You're repeating the same mistakes that we all should know better at this point. So to me, it's not a mistake. I don't know. I don't know what their overall goal here is, but it usually always seems to be about getting control over resources. That's why we did the fucking Operation Ajax back in the days, because Iran wanted to nationalize their oil, and America and Britain didn't like that. And then BP was born, and, you know, after we brought in the Shah, then all of a sudden BP was born, and, you know, worked out great. Worked out real great, right? Except we have the karma of a fucking angry country that's mad at us. And we could apologize. We could try to have peace. We could be like, we're sorry we've been involved in your fucking business, and we're going to leave you alone. If you leave us alone, we'll leave you alone. That's a promise. And work towards peace. But no. We're just always trying to fuck with their shit. And if another country was doing to us what we did to them, we would be livid. But no, we can do whatever we want. We can act like complete assholes. And we're always in the right. We're always in the right, no matter what we do. And every other country's always in the wrong, even when we're the fucking bully asshole. All right, whatever. But I'm supposed to be rah-rah. I'm supposed to get behind this because now we're at war, and if you don't support your country, then you're a traitor. This is the shit you're going to be hearing. They're already attacking all of us for like, no new wars. They're like, you're a fucking traitor, you're a this, you're a that, blah, blah, blah. People who 10 minutes ago were all complaining about how we're ballooning our fucking deficits and we can't keep doing this debt spending and blah, 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 blah. But now they support this. The very reason that we're in so much fucking debt in the first place, all these forever wars, and we're in a position to keep doing that. And that's not going to further put us into fucking insolvency and destroy our economy and the livelihoods of our citizens. But no. Just support it, guys. Just support it. Just support it. So, and then someone says Iran will likely do nothing. Well, Iran's already responded. I don't know if you were paying attention last night. They hit Israel. They hit a few targets in Israel. I don't know if they're running out of missiles. They shot one a little while ago. I think it was just one that was intercepted. I don't know. But they've already retaliated. So are we just now, America's just going to sit back and let Iran keep shooting missiles into Israel? Or is this going to up the ante? Because Trump's already warned, if Israel retaliates, we will retaliate. And that's how these things kick off. It's a slow fucking escalation. You escalate, they escalate, and the next thing you know, it's just like Israel and Iran right now. They're just bombing each other every day. You have to de-escalate. It's not rocket science. This idea like, peace through strength. No, you bombed another country, you escalated the situation. You're not creating peace. You're creating more war, more death, more suffering. Guaranteed. Guaranteed. Sorry, guys. I'm trying my best here. I'm trying to not be really angry, but I feel very fucking betrayed by Trump right now. I know a lot of people do. People under 35 have zero support for this war. I mean, yeah, anybody that lived through the Iraq war, people my age, where I was like in my early 20s when the Iraq war kicked off, I was 21 in 2003. If you're supporting this, you're fucking brain dead. And I know people my age who lived through this shit are not supporting this. You might go on Twitter and think a lot of MAGA is supporting this. No, dude. This is not popular amongst MAGA. But, of course, the side that supports this is being really loud and really aggressive. But trust me, it's a tiny percentage of the actual MAGA crowd. I don't know. It's probably 70-30, I think. Could be more.
Trying to refer back to is the Iraq War, and particularly the cheerleading was done. And it was about 18. If you go back in time, you boomers. This is what's interesting. The people under 35 are like 100 to nothing on this. They zero. Here's how much support it has for the under 35 crowd. Zero. Who supports this? I'm told the boomers. Okay, boomers. I'm also a boomer. You know that. But let's go back in time. And they say boomers have no learning curve. I don't agree with that. I being one of you, I don't agree with that. But let's go back in time. Let's go back the last time you were sucked into, the last time we had this situation for the Iraq War. Now, they had an 18-month to a year buildup. And that was a propaganda campaign. It's now been fully exposed. The other day I was at the Christian Science Monitor breakfast, and they brought up the Iranian, outside council or Council for Democracy. I don't even know what this thing called. And Grizzo over at Newsmax, who's one of the old war horses in town, really smart guy. He says, hey, Steve, can you talk about that? And I go, man, why are we going that? Now we're going to do due diligence on, they got the Shah's son and they got all the MEK guys. MEK is kind of a combination of Marxism, Maoism, some sort of, I don't even know what it is, but it's out there. And they call it a terrorist group. And I realized the great Bernie Kerik and Rudy are very close to those guys, and they vouch for him. But my point is, you got all these people, right? All these Persians that have not been in Persia for a while, like since 1979. And they got this council, and they meet, and they talk about what they're going to.
All right. Yeah, let's move on from this one. How the fuck? Come on. What are you stuck on here? Oh, that's what I did. I opened it somehow. Just trying to I clicked on the side of the window. Why did it fucking... Oh, whatever. So, Roger, we're seeing a kind of a weird divide where people that were... Like, it seems like the InfoWars people are kind of going against this, but then Roger Stone's for this. So we're seeing people... here's my suggestion. If you disagree with people on this, don't fucking attack them. Engage them in an honest debate and tell them your side of it. Okay? There's no reason to attack. And this is probably one of the biggest mistakes the pro-American intervention in Iran crowd is doing. Is they're hardcore attacking the pro-peace side of MAGA. We can have our differences and maybe survive, right? And we can still be like, okay, I don't agree with any of this, but we still agree on all this, and we can still work. No, you're going to basically create enemies within your own movement the way you guys are attacking. But yeah, Roger Stone, I'm surprised he supports it because he doesn't want homicidal maniacs having a nuclear bomb. Anytime you paint the situation like that, it just makes me suspicious. When you're like, oh, this other country, they're all just homicidal maniacs. It's like, okay, so boogeyman. So you're boogeymaning us again, right? Man, if only we had Ron Paul as president right now.
Is if another country does to us what we do others, we're not going to like it very much. So I would say that maybe we ought to consider a golden rule in foreign policy. Don't do to other nations what we don't want to have them do to us. So we endlessly bomb.
The message Jesus taught all of us: treat others the way you want to be treated. But yet, when you use that in the world stage, when you're talking about countries, you're going to get booed. I thought the Republicans were full of Christians who believed in that. But no, you don't believe that. You just pretend to believe that. Because if you believe that, you would also use that on the world stage. You would go, hey, maybe we should treat other countries the way we want to be treated and stop getting involved in their fucking politics. And if we feel Iran has terrible leadership, that's up to the Iranian people to figure that out. It's up for the Iranian people to do something. But what you've just done is you just solidified the Iranian people more behind a regime you don't like, because now they're terrified. Good job, idiots.
These countries, and then we wonder why they get upset with us, and yet it continues on and on. I mean, This idea that we can't debate foreign policy, then all we have to do is start another war. I mean, it's warmongering. They're building up for another war against Iran, and people can't wait to get in another war. This country doesn't need another war. We need to quit the ones we're in. We need to save the money and bring our troops home.
This used to be Trump stole this message from Ron. I wonder if he ever meant it, though. I wonder if he truly meant it. I'm sorry for playing so many Bannon clips. They're just popping up, and I'm like, I'm going to play them. I agree with this message 100%. We need to lock everybody up at Fox News and CNN. Just lock everybody up.
Those in the audience, Mark Levin has something up on
especially
on
Mark
Twitter
fucking
tonight.
Levin.
I think, let's just speak for itself. It's so revolting and disgusting, particularly somebody who's never served his country and is not a veteran. His use of language is so inappropriate for someone who's too gutless to serve his nation, right? What he does in trying to smear people about their patriotism and their love of country and their commitment to this nation. Like I said, I think he and I think many people at Fox and the whole network and the Murdoch should be put under investigation as under FAR investigations as basically agents for a foreign government. I think it's quite clear that he's not pitching this in the interests of the United States of America or American citizens, and particularly those in harm's way, right? Since he's never been in harm's way. And
oh yeah, James Garner says, I bet Ben Shapiro's. I saw some posts from Ben. Ben is creaming his pants right now. These guys were so never Trump because he was running against the regime change, the foreign policy of the Bush administration, and what Obama took over and seemed to continue. I don't know how they pulled it off, man. These guys are fucking geniuses. They went from never Trump, attacking Trump, to all of a sudden he's doing exactly what they fucking want. It's amazing.
I don't think any of his children have been in harm's way, right? It's not a very patriot. His love of country and patriotism is just as solid as his being MAGA, which he was one of the most vicious voices of President Trump when we ran in 16, and then in 21, he's one of the first people to bail, with all the people at Fox taking paychecks from Rupert Murdoch, who bailed to go to DeSimp and Nikki Haley and that whole crew of neoliberal neocons.
That's weird. Again, all the pro-Trump bombing Iran people, all of a sudden they're siding with Nikki Haley and fucking all the neocons. And it's like we're not supposed to think it's weird when we just fucking all just during the election cycle, we just totally shit all over the neocons and Nikki Haley because they wanted to go to war with Iran. But now it's okay. It's okay. Nope, never a problem. Actually, you're all stupid for thinking that MAGA was against war with Iran. You're all stupid for thinking MAGA was about no new wars. No, because Trump said they can't have a nuclear bomb one time. Breaking, Iran is now more likely to obtain a nuclear weapon this year than it was before the strike, per Polymarket. Now, I say what you want about the betting markets, but they tend to be filled with people that tend to have a lot of logical thinking when they put their money behind something, and it is just common sense. It really is. Oh, this strike is going to stop. No, this is going to make them more radical. It's going to make them want a nuclear bomb even more. It's going to make the smart people in Iran go look at North Korea and go, that seemed to work out for North Korea. Whew, maybe we should have a nuke. It's common fucking sense, man. And we're going to play his speech after he did the strike yesterday. This was fucking embarrassing. It was fucking embarrassing.
Thank you very much.
I almost punched my television watching this.
A short time ago, the U.S. military carried out massive precision.
Actually, let's go with the long one so we can catch him walking up and everything. Where was that? We'll play that in a second, but let's get to look at this. This is a lot of people now. I'm not going to go vote straight Democrat. I'm just probably not going to vote until I get another guy, like if Ron Paul runs, maybe Thomas Massey, I might vote. I don't know. To me, I still think voting is these people that are like, oh, they always make fun of you when you vote for people. It's like, well, how else are we going to fucking change anything? It's the only fucking method we have. Right? And maybe if everybody would start voting and stop being like, oh, you're stupid for voting, maybe we could actually have a third party and actually fucking really remove the corruption of the fucking neocons and the neolibs and get them out. If everybody started voting locally as well, Senate, Congress, House, we could actually fix the situation. So you guys that don't want to vote are actually a big part of the fucking problem. But you pretend, you sit back because you didn't vote for anybody. I can now talk shit about everybody else because you didn't take a stance. Good for you. Don't take a stance, you big pussy. All right. Sorry. Where was that? So yeah, for the first time ever, I'll be voting straight Democrat in the midterms just to signal my absolute disgust with this administration's betrayal. There's going to be a lot of people doing this. They've just opened the door for Democrats to get back and start winning people back. Breaking. President Trump just sent a very strong warning to Iran. Any retaliation by Iran against the United States of America will be met with force far greater than what was witnessed tonight. Thank you, Donald J. Trump. Thank you, Donald J. Trump, President of the United States. So Iran already retaliated. They already shot a bunch of missiles. They're still shooting missiles at Israel. So this is going to lead to more escalation, more bombing, yada, yada, yada. Yeah, let's watch the full address because these guys look really fucking pathetic as they walk up. Here, let me zoom this in some more. Let's get it closer. There we go. Let's see this nice and big. JD Vance does not look fucking happy. And if I'm going to pin this on anybody, it's Marco Rubio. I was always like, oh, Marco Rubio's doing such a good job. Wait, no, Marco Rubio's a fucking neocon. He's a fucking neocon. And he's right in there, fucking got his nose all the way up Trump's ass. It is probably the one most advising Trump to do this stupid shit. I don't know about Pete Hegseth. I don't know enough about him, but I know Marco Rubio's a fucking neocon.
Thank you very much.
They can't even figure out where to stand. So Rubio wants to make sure he's on camera, right? And Hegseth is like, what if I sit here? I'm not going to be on camera. I got to be on camera.
A short time ago, the U.S. military carried out massive precision strikes on the three key.
JD Vance is fucking. There was word out there that Vance advised Trump not to do this. That Vance was very much against this, but because he's the vice president, of course, now he's going to get on board because he kind of has no choice. But there were people advising Trump not to do this, and he didn't listen. He listened. Who did he listen to? This fucking snake in the grass right here. Always been a snake in the grass. These are the neocons who pretended to be MAGA, who are 100% never Trump, pretended to be MAGA, and now that they fucking finally wormed their way up to Trump's inner circle and got their nose so far up his ass, he's willing to listen because Trump is an idiot like that. And if you kiss his ass, all of a sudden he likes you and will listen. Now they're doing his bidding. He's doing their bidding.
Nuclear facilities in the Iranian regime, Fordow, Natanz, and Esfahan.
Ishmael, dude, use that. Go back to 2003 and use that argument on me when I was 20 fucking years old and a retard and fell for that. But they got weapons of mass destruction. We got weapons. At least come up with a new scheme. Come up with a new con, a new scam. Don't just repeat the same fucking one like I'm brain dead. But apparently most of Americans are brain dead and have no fucking memory. Or, I don't know. I just, how could you not remember this? It wasn't that long ago. I get it if you were a 20-year-old kid. But even then, when you were 13 or whatever, this shit was still going on. Like, I don't know, man. It's like I woke up in a different universe where people got 100 times dumber than they were the day before.
Everybody heard those names for years as they built this horribly destructive enterprise. Our objective was the destruction of Iran's nuclear enrichment capacity and a stop to the nuclear threat posed by the world's #1 state sponsor of terror. Tonight, I can report to the world that the strikes were a spectacular military success.
By the way, both sides are saying different shit. Russia, we're going to play, I think, Dmitry Medvedev or whatever. There's a lot of sources saying it didn't really do shit. It's too far underground. Or they already knew. Trump supposedly gave them a heads up, told them they were going to do this. It's like, hey, guys, we're going to hit your nuclear sites. And that's what I'm hearing. I don't know. It's, so much of this shit is just what you're hearing. It can't be confirmed. And apparently they already knew this shit was coming, so they'd already moved all of their fucking uranium to a different site. Again, this is what I'm hearing. Can't confirm anything.
Iran's key nuclear enrichment facilities have been completely and totally obliterated. Iran, the bully of the Middle East, must now make peace. If they do not, future attacks will be far greater and a lot easier. For 40 years, Iran has been saying death to America, death to Israel. They have been killing our people, blowing off their arms, blowing off their legs with roadside bombs. That was their specialty. We lost over 1,000.
Well, maybe we shouldn't have gone to Iraq. Maybe we should stop getting involved in other countries' businesses, acting like it's our fucking place to tell other countries how to behave, unless they are attacking us. And again, if you go and you invade another country where there's a lot of people loyal to Iran, like, again, Iran did it. Well, maybe we shouldn't have been in Iraq. You ever think about that? Maybe we shouldn't have overthrew their fucking democratically elected leaders in 57 or whatever because we wanted their fucking oil. You ever think about that? But no, we're always perfect. We never did anything wrong. America never did anything wrong. We were just, going about our business, praying. We were walking through the street, praying to Jesus, and all these terrorists just showed up and started blowing us up. We never did anything. We never got involved in their business.
1,000 people and hundreds of thousands throughout the Middle East and around the world have died as a direct result of their hate. In particular, so many were killed by their general, Qasem Soleimani. I decided a long time ago that I would not let this happen. It will not continue. I want to thank and congratulate Prime Minister Bibi Netanyahu. We worked as a team like perhaps no team has ever worked before. And we've gone a long way to erasing this horrible threat to Israel. I want to thank the Israeli military for the wonderful job they've done. And most importantly, I want to congratulate the great American patriots who flew those magnificent machines tonight, and all of the United States military on an operation the likes of which the world has not seen in many, many decades. Hopefully, we will no longer need their services in this capacity. I hope that's so. I also want to congratulate the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Dan Raisin-Kane, spectacular general, and all of the brilliant military minds involved in this attack. With all of that being said, this cannot continue. There will be either peace or there will be tragedy for Iran far greater than we have witnessed over the last 8 days. Remember, there are many targets left. Tonight's was the most difficult of them all, by far, and perhaps the most lethal. But if peace does not come quickly, we will go after those other targets with precision, speed, and skill. Most of them can be taken out in a matter of minutes. There's no military in the world that could have done what we did tonight, not even close. There has never been a military that could do what took place just a little while ago. Tomorrow, General Kane, Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth will have a press conference at 8 a.m. at the Pentagon. And I want to just thank everybody, and in particular, God.
This is the part where it gets weird. It gets a little weird the way this comes out. It's like he doesn't, I don't know. Trump is not seeming very confident here.
I want to just say, we love you, God, and we love
I don't know. This just comes out weird.
Love our great military, protect them. God bless the Middle East, God bless Israel, and God bless America. Thank you very much. Thank you.
It's just so dumb. I want peace. Yeah, that's the way to get peace. If you're having problems with your neighbor, just go over there and step on his foot. Just stomp on his foot and be like, I want peace. Stomping on his foot. Peace, peace, peace. Like, no, he's going to get mad and punch you in the face. It's like logic goes out the window. Just whatever the government tells you. The government told you they did this for peace, and that's what it's for. And it's like, no, that's not how you get peace. That's not how you fucking get peace.
Yeah.
What a pathetic little group here. What, you guys let us down. What a you fucking losing motherfuckers. You're going to lose the midterms. You're going to lose. What a fucking joke, dude. What a joke. Yeah, I think we got the Pete Hegseth fucking press conference from today. Here's Dave Rubin. Here's one of the, pro bombing guys. Nobody is celebrating war. People are celebrating the end of war. This is some 1984 shit right here. Ooh, we just bombed Israel. It's the end of war. War is over. No, you just escalated it. And now Iran's going to respond. And then we're going to respond. It's going to lead to regime change. That is what it's going to lead to. We'll get back to this in a second. Let's play Okay, so then Massey comes out. Thomas Massey, one of the few that's sticking to the no new wars, the morals or whatever the fuck, sticking to their guns. Basically said that Trump doesn't have the right to do this. This is illegal. He's going to create a bill that basically tries to stop presidents from doing this. I understand the 60 days to wage war without Congress's approval. I understand why that's kind of important, because if all of a sudden we get a Pearl Harbor type situation, we need the president to be able to respond and not wait on Congress. This isn't it. This isn't one of those reasons to me that qualifies for just the president acting on his own. This is a preemptive thing. This is not in our defense. I think this should not be allowed. I think the rules for when a president can just go ahead and start striking without having permission by Congress, I think that needs to be very strict. And it needs to be limited to like emergencies, not just, they looked at me the wrong way. So this is his weird ass message in response to Thomas Massey. Congressman Thomas Massey of Kentucky is not MAGA. Actually, he's more MAGA than you are now, Trump, unfortunately. You're not MAGA, Trump. Even though he likes to say he is, actually, MAGA doesn't want him, doesn't know him, and doesn't respect him. He could probably beat you in an election in 4 years if you keep going this way. All the real MAGA is getting behind Massey, Trump. You're a moron. He is a negative force who almost always votes no matter how good something may be. He's a simple-minded grandstander who thinks it's good politics for Iran to have the highest level nuclear weapon, while at the same time yelling, "Death to America," at every chance they get. Iran has killed and maimed thousands of Americans and even took the American embassy in Tehran under the Carter administration. We had a spectacular military success yesterday, taking the bomb right out of their hands. By the way, I don't know. I'm going to put it out there and say, I don't think we stopped Iran from being able to have a bomb. And in fact, a lot of people believe they do already have a bomb. And then instead of being like North Korea and being public about it, they're being secretive, like Israel. Because Israel technically doesn't say whether or not they have a bomb. They do. It's pretty much well known they do have a nuclear bomb, but they won't say it, and they won't let any international people come in and investigate it. So Iran's basically doing like Israel does, except I think Iran lets the outside international community come in and actually inspect their shit. Whereas, Israel, I don't know if anybody's calling for it to even be inspected. I'm just saying, Iran might actually already have a bomb. A lot of people believe that. Alex Jones does. We'll get to that in a second. We had a spectacular military success yesterday, taking the bomb right out of their hands, and they would use it if they could. Yes, because they'd want to commit suicide, right? That's what Iran wants to do. Iran wants to destroy its entire country and the whole world with it. Because Iran is basically like a suicide bomber. As soon as they get that nuke, they're gonna suicide bomb themselves and the rest of the world. Yeah, okay, that's what they're gonna do. Okay, all right. Massey is weak, ineffective, and votes no in virtually everything put before him. Rand Paul Jr. You mean he's got principles and doesn't sell them out like you do, you fat fuck? No matter how good something may be, he is disrespectful to our great military and all that they stand for, not even acknowledging their brilliance and bravery in yesterday's attack. Yes, they were so brave. So brave. So brave. Which was a total and complete win. Massey should drop his fake act and start putting America first. So basically, he's going to organize to have somebody run against Massey. I think this is the second time Trump did it. Last time it didn't work, and it's not going to work again because Trump is losing support fast. Trump is a stock like it was yesterday was going up, and then today you check it, and it's like a quarter of the price it was yesterday, and it's just free falling. That's what Trump is right now, and I don't understand why he doesn't get that. I don't understand why he doesn't get that. Wilford Brimley. Wilford, let me see if I can play if he'll play. There we go. Who would have thought Kanye's correct?
Brimley super chatted $2.
Disavow.
Guessed Kanye was correct all along.
Disavow. Kanye was not correct. I still believe, and I will always believe, it's low IQ to judge people based on their group, their race, their religion. You have to judge people as individuals. That is the American way. That is the only way. You judge people as individuals. And judging Israel and the policies and decisions of that country, you should be able to do that all day long. But when you make it about the Jews, then you're discrediting your whole fucking argument, and you're allowing Israel to just take all criticism and say, oh, it's just because they're anti-Semitic. It is a little weird how before, like out of nowhere on X, there's just like a million people screaming about the Jews and going way overboard, not criticizing Israel, but like actually attacking Jewish people. It's weird how so much of that happened to just come out and fill up social media right before this. Kind of convenient because now they can just be like, oh, all these people are just anti-Israel. They just hate the Jews. It's like, no, we don't want fucking war. But now we all get conflated with that crowd as being anti-Semitic, which is really fucking annoying to me. Really annoying because I love Jews. I have a lot of Jewish friends. I've never met a Jewish person I didn't actually get along with. Never had a Jewish person actually fucking harm me in any way. But if I have a problem with Israel's policies and what feels like them dragging America into war, now I'm an anti-Semite. According to, a lot of the shit I'm reading on the internet. Whatever. All right, so let's move on. So yeah, he's going against Massey hardcore. Let's see what Alex said about this. Good old Alex Jones. Yeah, I think I got confirmation. I should be having Chase Geyser on tomorrow night. So you guys that are a fan of Chase, it'll be great. I might have somebody who's on the other side. I don't know if it'll be a debate or conversation, or it might just be me and Chase. I'm not sure yet. We'll figure it out.
Last night, I got word that Trump had struck 3 of Iran's nuclear sites while I was having dinner with my youngest daughter. And we immediately left, and I went back to my home office and began researching all the different details. I decided to not comment on it until I had slept on it, until I'd had about 3 or 4 hours once I got up this morning to research every angle of it and to see what began to unfold. And exactly what I predicted would unfold is now unfolding. So I'll tell you my opinion on what Trump did and whether it was right or whether it was wrong in a little while. But first, let's just talk about the facts. I predicted, and it wasn't hard to predict, they said they would, that Iran's parliament would vote to block the Strait of Hormuz, which they 100% can do. It's very shallow, very narrow, and they border it and have a whole bunch of their shipping and ports there. And so they voted today to do that. Their supreme leader can override that. I don't know if he will. I also said that if Trump struck those sites with the big bunker busters, that it would not completely take them out. It would take a tactical nuclear weapon to do that. And now they're saying they weren't completely taken out.
Yeah, but didn't even Trump say that last night? Or I think before the strike, they were like, actually, it would take a tactical nuke to actually take it out. But then all of a sudden they hit it, and then they're claiming they took it out without a tactical nuke. So some things are not adding up here.
And I pointed out something on Steve Bannon's show Friday in a message to Trump as well that he got to him, that the Iranians obviously would have gotten their enriched uranium, their fissile material, out of those sites, which they've now announced they did. That's their whole policy, is to hide their ballistic missiles and the bomb material that they have. They're not 2 weeks away, like the Israelis said a few days ago. They've got it, as I've been saying for many years. And now the...
So think about that. If Iran does have a nuke, why haven't they used it already? Why haven't they used it in response to this? Now, I can't prove this. I don't know. It's a speculation, but I would think Iran would have a nuke because it would be really stupid to me as a country to not pursue a nuclear program. It'd be stupid. It'd be like you're not working in the interest of your own fucking citizens at that point. You want to protect your citizens, you need nukes. Oh, nukes are so scary. Mutually assured destruction has fucking saved how many people's lives? How many wars have been avoided by mutually assured destruction? More than can even be fucking counted. And the only wars that happen anymore are proxy wars because of mutually assured destruction. And if every country had a fucking bomb, maybe those proxy wars would be a lot less. No one's going to fuck around with a country that has a nuke. No one's going to. Because no matter how bad these regimes are, I've yet to see a suicidal regime that's going to fucking just, I hate Israel so much, we're going to kill all of our people and get rid of my beautiful life as a fucking ruler of a country and having all the most beautiful women and all that. Yeah, I'm just going to kill myself. It's a really dumb argument. It's a really, really dumb argument.
CIA is saying, oh, we think now we've got to have total regime change because now they're really mad and now they're going to finish their bombs. So see, this doesn't end the war like everybody says it would, and that's the talking point, in almost every war game actuary, it accelerates it. Well, we're not in a war game now, it's happening. And Pakistan came out as a nuclear power and condemned it this morning. And so Iran has a very strong military. They're dug in. The mullahs are dictators. That said, though, this just expanded the war. Now, Trump is saying, and he said in his speech last night from the White House, that this is Iran's chance to now give up their nuclear program and come to the table, or it's going to get much worse. And now if Trump can claim he's taken out their nuclear capability, that puts some pressure on Israel to stop as well. Well, Netanyahu wants regime change, and he isn't going to stop. Plus, he's unpopular, so this war keeps him in power. Remember, he doesn't want October 7th stand down and investigate it. He said once the war is over, we can investigate why they stood down 7.5 hours, this incredible military. But the war's never going to end, basically. This is part of a long-term 25-year plan to have regime change the entire Middle East. This is the last country they want. Iran, Syria just fell 7 months ago, and the West put al-Qaeda in charge there. So this is escalating very, very quickly. It was easy to know it would, and I've been right about that. It wasn't hard to be right about it. And so I know Trump's been briefed on all these angles. I know Bannon warned him on Thursday. And Trump said, okay, 2 weeks to give them a chance to come to the table.
Yeah, that was all a fucking lie. That was all a fucking elaborate fucking scam to make Iran completely unaware of what was about to happen. I was like, oh, great. So maybe, because I was giving Trump the benefit of the doubt. I was like, maybe this is all just posturing. He's talking big to try to scare Iran into actually coming up with a peace deal and like calming this all down. Boy, was I fucking wrong.
And I said, I hope this isn't a ruse so that they don't know they're about to get struck. And looks like it was. Trump doesn't normally act like that. That's, by way of deception, you will conquer, as Israelis say. And world leaders like to work with Trump because he almost always does what he says he's going to do. He says what he means to do. So that's a little disconcerting there as well. Trump's not stupid. And so now this has about a 95% chance of just escalating. It's basically already happening. And I don't know if the Iranian supreme leader will veto the parliament, but they could close the Strait of Hormuz as early as today. They just sink a bunch of their barges and ships out there, and it's closed.
I just want to respond to what Miles said, because I think Miles, I don't know if you're making this point, Miles, but you're making me want to make a point. Miles says, well, okay, I'll just let the last bit of my soul die and say, well, if we're going to start it, we better win and kick ass. So disappointing. This is another part of the problem, Miles, is we want to do war in this pretty way where it's like, dude, if you declare war against another country, you better take them the fuck out, dude. It's not going to be pretty. None of this pretty. No, you need to go in and you need to take shit over. You don't just go in and just like, punch them in the arm and then go, okay, we're at war. Ooh, don't hurt me back. It's like, no, it's fucking on, dude. You got to take them out. We're playing too many games. If we're going to war with a country, it's got to be like for keeps, dude. Or don't even start it then. You guys want to just keep starting these little things, but you're not playing for fucking keeps. And then what happens? And we're going to go over that. We're going to go over all the regime changes since 2000 and how those have turned out. That's coming up soon.
For months and months, and then they can attack anybody that tries to come move the ships, which is a huge job because they have a huge militarized coastline right there. Even if we launch an Operation Praying Mantis again and destroy their navy, you can look up Operation Praying Mantis if you want. It's a big problem. 20% of the world's oil goes through there every day, up to 30.
By the way, they already announced they're locking down that strait.
30% sometimes, but on average about 20.
So yeah, get ready for higher energy prices and the cost of everything to go up. That's what we voted for, right? We voted for higher oil prices and more inflation and for the higher cost of food after it's already fucking super expensive. That's what okay, yeah, great.
If it gets closed, we'll bring oil conservatively to $130 a barrel, maybe $200. That will, 130 will more than double inflation. That will then trigger interest rates to increase. And if you look at the numbers, will kill Trump's recovery plan.
But Sega SWP, Pakistan has nukes. North Korea has nukes. How come once North Korea got nukes, all the fucking fear-mongering stopped and now no one talks about North Korea? This fear-mongering bullshit, not going to work on me. Go find some other idiot.
It's a very good plan. It's working. So it just goes from bad to worse. Trump's talking about using tactical nukes now. That'll be the third time in history countries use nukes. That'd be us. Hiroshima, Nagasaki, this would be a third. that just escalates things into Armageddon territory in all the numbers. And the Pentagon's warned Trump. The majority of his advisors told him not to do this, but he's listening to General Kurilla, the head of CENTCOM. That's all admitted. And so I want Trump's agenda of securing the border and deporting the illegals and taking back the sanctuary cities and bringing the dollar back and our jobs back and peace through strength, all of it. Dismantling DEI. I mean, I'm so happy about it all. So it's very bittersweet.
I agree with all that.
I'm not going to throw the baby out with the bathwater. I don't wish the Democrats were in. I mean, they're openly at war against this country, and I believe Trump believes he's doing the right thing. It's just that General Flynn a few days ago, I'll post the video on top of this once I post it, said we need to wait and see. And he's a really smart guy. He's certainly not afraid of the mullahs. So a lot of you calling me a traitor, and I'm a MAGA imposter and all that ridiculous stuff. I'm one of the first endorsers of Trump. We built the Tea Party Liberty Movement that he wrote in on. I want him to succeed. I love President Trump. Will the Iranians trigger their sleeper cells? Or will the deep state do it and blame them to keep the war going? All the special interests want this war to continue in the West. And it goes into the whole war with
calls for sad
Russia and
music.
Ukraine. And it goes into just this larger World War III situation that we're in that Trump has really been trying to stop legitimately and doing an overall great job. So I know Trump felt boxed in on all of this and all the images of missiles hitting Israel, so it looks like we want to support Israel, but this isn't really supporting Israel in the end. And then the whole world's basically turning against Israel and the United States right now. So I believe this was a mistake. The majority of Trump's advisors told him that, both military and intelligence, but he decided to go against that. And so I just hope that the Ayatollah takes this as a chance, face saving on all sides, and just de-escalates. But I don't think Israel even allow that to happen. I don't think the mullah will. I think we're going into full war with Iran and all the problems that come with that. So everybody that loves war and thinks it's so cool, this isn't like Iraq or other places. This is going to trigger economic depression for sure if we don't reverse it. So I think this is a big, big mistake. And I'm very, very sad, very, very upset. I'll be covering it all today at 4 p.m. Central with all the details, all the graphs, all the documents at Infowars.com/show and writer on X at Real Actions. That's just some of the basic facts. I'm going to.
And these points, I agree 100% with Alex. He's on the money on this, to me. I know a lot of it. I was like, look, Alex ain't right about everything, but he is right about some things. And in this case, he's right on the fucking money. Yeah, this is Trump attacking Massey. Here's some pictures we got. This is after. This is before. Fordo. Okay, so this is before, and this is after. So I'll tell you both. One side saying, well, nothing was done. Building's still there, road's still there. The other side's like, oh, it's a bunker buster. So there's supposed to be a hole where the ordnance went through and it blew up underground. So that's why you're not seeing anything. Okay. Just wanted to show that. Laura Loomer, what a piece of shit. I told you Laura Loomer's a crazy person, but she's gone totally fucking crazy. This is her from, I don't know, a few years back. Today, Nikki Haley, or maybe not even that long ago, today Nikki Haley went on CNBC and called for the U.S. to bomb Iran. Nikki Haley wants more war in the Middle East, which means more dead U.S. soldiers. The only person who has proven that he won't create more wars is Donald Trump. Donald Trump is the pro-peace candidate. You should see her tweets today and yesterday. She is like orgasming over Trump bombing Iran. So all these people are going to pretend like they're not acting like hypocrites and they're not going against the MAGA agenda and betraying the America First movement and the people that supported you guys and put you in power. But we know this is a fucking betrayal. This is a huge betrayal. And Owen Schroyer, I'm trying to get Owen on too. It's hard to get the InfoWars guys because they're so busy. And I'm like, it's always weird because I'm not as busy and I'm willing to like move my schedule around for people that I want to get. So it's like, how about this day? Busy. How about that day? Busy. Okay. When are you not busy? And we'll make it work. But then they don't reply. Then they go, oh, I'm not just saying specifically Owen, but people do that to me all the time. I think they get annoyed when I do that because it's like, well, it's more annoying to just keep giving you dates and then getting no than just being like, well, tell me when is a date you can do it. And you know what I mean? Like, this one thing I hate about running a show is having to reach out to people to have them come on. I hate doing that, but I got to do it. Matt Gaetz, I'm sad to see, this is Alex Jones, I'm sad to see that Trump drank the Neocon Kool-Aid and attacked Iran. That said, most people see through the gaslighting, and the age of the globalist warmongers is coming to an end. The insane war must end now. So Gates, maybe this is why they attacked Gates so hard and got him out of the administration. Maybe he was one of the few that they knew was not going to go for the neocon warmongering. I don't know. Let's listen to what he says. I don't think I played this one.
Kick their regime change habit with Iraq or Libya or Syria. It seems they need another fix. But Matt, this isn't a regime change war. It's about Iran's nuclear program. I wish that were true, but it's not. Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene opined that maybe Netanyahu is so feisty about regime change in Iran because he was facing regime change.
Yeah, I saw Owen's debate with Misfit Patriot. It was a fucking disaster. Owen wiped the floor with him.
Super chatted $2. 2 weeks to slow the spread of nuclear warfare.
Wilford, what are we gonna do, brother? Let's hope that somehow Trump has a wake up call and is like, okay, at some point we got to stop the escalation process and start de-escalating. And at some point, you're going to have to show some good faith to Iran so they believe you're really wanting to de-escalate. Because now, how are they going to believe you when you just said, "Hey, let's take a 2-week break and we're gonna," and then you fucking just said that just to trick them so that you could bomb them without them, having any idea. Like, it's going to be hard to get any kind of fucking discussions through at this point when you behave that way.
In Israel.
It's not being reported enough that on Thursday,
By the way, I've always thought MTG was pretty cringe and weird, but I'm having a lot of respect for MTG now because she's standing up for America, the real America First agenda.
held a vote in the Knesset, and it was only by 2 votes that Netanyahu won. If he had lost, they would have had another election in Israel, and the polling shows that he...
Sorry, Urjo says, how much censorship will this war bring? That's the other thing, Urjo. That's the other thing. We wanted Trump to fucking push more freedom of speech on the internet. And we've gotten less and less. Every fucking day we have less. And now we go to war with Iran. Dude, you watch the amount of censorship that's going to fucking happen. It's going to be out of fucking control, dude.
He would lose if an election were to occur today. That vote happened last Thursday. And then Friday, Israel attacked Iran. That's why the bombs are falling, and it seems very political.
Here's how you know this isn't about Iran's nuclear program. We aren't taking these steps to force denuclearization where the threat is higher and the leaders are even crazier. Take North Korea. North Korea's nuclear program is a far greater threat to the United States than Iran's. It is not even close. I know, I've had the briefings. I was on the House Armed Services Committee for 8 years. Iran has neither the bomb, the delivery system, nor the re-entry vehicle that you would need for any intercontinental ballistic missile to launch and re-enter orbit. North Korea has all 3. North Korea could launch a nuclear weapon at mainland United States today. And we've probably got the ability to knock it out of the sky, but Iran can't even get their bird in the air. Iran's Death to America chant isn't really my bag, obviously, but Kim in the Hermit Kingdom points to U.S. cities like Los Angeles and San Diego and Seattle on maps, and he openly discusses wiping off major U.S. population centers from existence.
Well, here's the thing, Matt. He's got the nuke already. And now we can't do shit because he's even the playing field. And that's what Iran wants as well. And there's a reason why, North Korea is not just bombing everybody, because all they wanted was a guarantee that they wouldn't be fucking invaded. And that's what a nuclear bomb does. It's a guarantee that no one's going to invade your fucking country. This just proves more why Iran wants a fucking nuclear bomb. Could you put yourself in their shoes if you are capable of doing that? Because some people aren't. But if you're capable, put yourself in their shoes. Why the fuck would they not want a nuclear bomb? Why? Tell me. Oh, because America's already going to invade them. No matter what, America's already going to invade them. Been talking about invading them for 20 years. To me, if they don't have a nuclear bomb, that's pretty dumb. They should have already got a nuclear bomb. They should have been like North Korea and been moved quicker.
Of course, we aren't looking to drop 100 bunker busters in the mountains of North Korea. President Trump took other brilliant diplomatic steps to constrain North Korea's hostility.
Yeah, Mr. B says Trump and Kim are low-key homies, though. That's another example of, like, what I expected from Trump when it came to Iran. I expected him to behave like he did with North Korea, where it was like, hey, let's meet, let's talk. They crossed the fucking line. It was like, you know what? The most important thing is peace. Right? And maybe that was because they already had a fucking nuke at that point. Maybe that's why. Maybe that's why Trump's whole fucking tactic was different with North Korea. But that's more of what I expected when it came to how we deal with these fucking neocon targets that we've been, Russia, Iran. I expected Trump to kind of break the old mold of there are enemies and like, hey, put his hand out and go, we're sorry. Let's calm things down. Both of our countries can benefit from good relationships. That's what I expected. Somehow it's a complete opposite now. It's a different Trump.
And the same could be done with Iran. But Matt, Iran has kicked out IAEA inspectors. There could be portions of their nuclear program that are secret. A nuclear secret in the Middle East. How about it? If the world is interested in a secret nuclear program in the Middle East, there is a country that won't allow any international inspectors.
Don't say it, Matt. Don't say it. We're not.
Israel. Israel has a nuclear weapon. Did you know that? I do. They allow no inspections. They are fully secretive and clandestine about it, and the Americans are fully aware. You know what? I don't even blame Israel for this. If they want to develop a nuclear weapon, if they had the blessing to do so secretly, I'm not in judgment of that. But to drag the world into a regime change war over secret nuclear weapons.
Koreans are a lot less radical, a lot less. You're saying that North Koreans are better than radical Islam? I don't know. They're not. I mean, the North Koreans are pretty crazy, dude. I don't know if there's a regime that's as bad as the North Koreans. Like, they're the worst. Maybe I'm wrong.
Weapons, when you have secret nuclear weapons, is a bit hypocritical. President Trump is the kind of guy who never gives up on a deal. Throughout his life, he's probably made deals and made lots of money on them, even when others walked away or didn't see value in a transaction. So here's a deal. How about Iran and Israel both give up their secret nuclear weapon programs? If Trump got that deal, he wouldn't only get the Nobel Peace Prize, they'd probably name it the Trump Peace Prize forevermore.
No, how about this? How about let them both have nukes? Israel and Iran can both have nukes, and watch as they make peace because they have no fucking choice if they don't want to end both of their fucking societies, both of their fucking countries, right? That's what will happen. If Iran gets a nuke, you watch how peaceful all of a sudden everything becomes. I know for some of you that are so propagandized, that's hard to believe, but that is just fucking common sense if you're thinking about it logically. But no, you probably believe, like what you're told, is that Iran is filled with a bunch of homicidal maniacs who just can't wait to nuke the rest of the world. That's a lie. That's a lie. Not saying they're perfect, not saying they're not crazy Islamic fucking radicals, that there's a lot of problems that come from that. But I think if they felt less under threat, it felt less like America was trying to fucking overthrow their country, like they've seen America do to so many other countries, they would probably calm down a little bit. Just a little bit. Just a tiny little bit. All right, what else we got here? Rob Schneider. Rob Schneider? He's coming out against this. Wait a minute. Iran is shutting off one of the most important passages for oil in the world. I thought we were only going to need to drop a couple bunker buster bombs and that was supposed to be it. So there's going to be retaliation? And then we will have to retaliate to their retaliation. And then, I mean, yes, Rob, anybody with a brain saw that this is what was coming. So yeah, they've already said they're going to lock down the, what's the name of that fucking strait? The fucking Strait of Vermouth or some shit? I don't know. I forgot. I think there's some more on this up here. Yeah, I don't even want to play this, you know. JD Vance, you should have did a better job telling Trump what to do. Yeah, so according to Disclosed TV, Iran's Atomic Energy Agency says nuclear sites will be quickly rebuilt and activity will continue with greater power. Good job. That did a whole lot. And here's I got this yesterday. Here's MAGA, the pretend MAGA, the bought and paid for MAGA, the pro-war MAGA, all doing what we used to see the left do, which is they all have their talking points, and it's like they got their marching orders. If you're no longer MAGA because Trump wiped out Iran's nuclear sites, you were never MAGA to begin with. If you're upset that Trump took out Obama's nuclear facilities in Iran, you were never MAGA. If you're no longer MAGA because Trump wiped out Iran's nuclear sites, you were never MAGA in the first place. See, like, they're smart enough to like reword it a little bit, but it's the same message. I may upset, and this is not actual Barron Trump, by the way. It's, you know, one of those stupid fucking accounts. I may upset a lot of people with this, but if you're no longer MAGA because Trump wiped out Iran's nuclear sites, you were never MAGA to begin with. All just repeating the same talking points. Probably bots. Iran, the enemy is under the delusion that it has damaged our nuclear installations, but we had already uncovered its conspiracies back in March. We had timely moved all strategic materials to secure locations. Uranium is still fully under our control. The enemy is striking at mere smoke. Now, there is some evidence that backs this up, that there was no uranium there because there's been no fallout. And there should have been, if the uranium, it should have been a pretty massive fallout if they were hitting a site that had as much uranium as they were supposed to have. So they probably moved it. This war is not a surprise for us. It was anticipated. We're ready. We are ready. And we will deliver a response that history will remember. We had already sharpened our swords, prepared for war. Now the time has come to draw them from their sheaths. This is the land of revolution. Here, every strike is calculated. Every blow is delivered with faith. Great. Yeah, that's, yeah, it's not going to escalate. Yeah, we're fine. We're not going to end up invading Iran and regime changing. No, it's just 3 bombs, guys. That's it. We just ended war by bombing another country. 3 little bombs. It wasn't even war. Actually, it was just a bombing. And there's no more war. This is peace. It's a peaceful bombing. Fucking dumbasses. This is a real post from Trump sent 20 minutes ago. It's almost too shocking to believe it's real. I mean, honestly, when I read this, I was like, this is a parody. Somebody's having a laugh. No, this is legitimately Trump said this. It's not politically correct to use the term regime change. But if the current Iranian regime is unable to make Iran great again, why wouldn't there be a regime change? MAGA. Make Iran great again. Okay, so basically all the fucking cult members, all the neocons who all day yesterday were like, this is not going to be regime change. We just ended the war.
Wilford Brimley super chatted $5.
Thank you, Wilford.
If you support Trump no matter what he does, you're a part of a cult. We voted for Trump based on what he campaigned on, and he's going against that.
Absolutely, dude. Absolutely, Wilford. They are a cult. We are seeing the Trump cult now emerge from this. And we are seeing the people who are honest in what they want and sticking to their fucking guns. So we're getting to see, we're getting to see who's who. So this is it's good in that way. We get to see who's really down for actually fixing this country and who has been just kind of wearing MAGA as a skin suit so that they can get back in line with their fucking nation building bullshit. Yeah, thank you, Wilford. Well said. So yeah, we're not MAGA anymore. We're MAGA. Make Iran great again. So yeah, this is how else can you take this other than this is the next escalation. This is the ultimate goal. And I bet you Trump's already on board with it, but he knows he can't just start there. He has to, first of all, slap the hornet's nest. And when the hornets start stinging us, then he can go, look at these evil hornets stinging us. We need to do regime change. And, okay, there we go. Another 20-year war that we can't afford that will completely wreck us. But no, a lot of you still believe in Trump and you still think, no, he's not going to do that. He's not going to do regime change. This was a calculated strike, just like he took out that one guy last time in Iran, whatever. We'll see. We will see. So yeah, this is why Trump wants to get rid of Thomas Massie.
What he promised us was we would put America first. And I think there are still voices in this administration. You've still got J.D. Vance. You've still got Tulsi Gabbard. You still, RFK Jr., you still got calmer heads that could prevail.
They were not persuasive in this case, clearly.
Well, somebody was persuasive. AIPAC.
Yeah, Marco fucking Rubio. I guarantee you it was that little
is very
little slimy
persuasive.
motherfucker.
For instance, the Israeli lobby in Congress, if you look at my colleagues' feeds now, they all look the same. They're all tweeting the same message, that we've got to support Israel and we've got to do this. What he promised us.
So yeah, Thomas Massey might be the head of the next fucking America First movement. I think we need to move to America only. I'm hearing these America only people, and I'm like, exactly, yeah, America only. It makes sense when I hear them talk about it, because people have to understand our economy is so fucking powerful. We have the greatest economy in the world. People will come to do business with us under our fucking, what we want, the way we want them to. Like, we don't use that chip enough, access to our economy, other countries' access to our economy. And we should just start tariffing the fuck out of everybody and just make ourselves the most fucking independent as possible from every other country and imports and all that shit. I don't know. I'm not explaining it well, but trust me, it sounds great. What do you think happened to Trump? So again, this is more of how Trump used to sound not too long ago.
But we had no wars. They said, he will start a war. I'm not going to start a war. I'm going to stop wars. But this is also a massive victory.
No, but he said Iran can't have a bomb, so everything else he said just goes out the window, right?
For democracy and for freedom. Together we're going to unlock America's glorious destiny. We're going to achieve the most incredible future for our people. Yesterday, as I stood at my last stop on the campaign trail, I'll never be doing a rally again. Can you believe it? I think we've done 900 rallies approximately from them. Can you imagine?
So yeah, this is, I guess, not that long ago. What changed? What the fuck changed? How long is this one? Yeah, it's a little long. Let's skip that one. Here's Marjorie Taylor Greene. My thoughts on bombing Iran. I don't know anyone in America who has been a victim of the crime of a crime or killed by Iran. But I know many people who have been victims of crime committed by criminal illegal aliens or murdered by cartel and Chinese fentanyl drugs. Almost everyone in our country can relate to this fact. However, America has not dropped bunker busters on the cartel's sophisticated drug tunnels, launched tomahawks on massive cartel poisonous drug operations, or gone to war against the cartel's international terrorist networks. Neocon warmongers beat their drums of war and act like Billy Badass going to war in countries most Americans have never seen and can't find on a map. But never find the courage to go to war against the actual terrorists who actually do kill Americans, invade our land, and make billions doing it day after day, year after year. I'm 51 years old. I'm Gen X. I've watched our country go to war in foreign lands for foreign causes on behalf of foreign interests for as long as I can remember. I was in 10th grade when Desert Storm started, and my father before me was sent to Vietnam, another senseless foreign war. America is $37 trillion in debt, and all of these foreign wars have cost Americans trillions and trillions of dollars that have never benefited any American. American troops have been killed and forever torn apart physically and mentally for regime change, foreign wars, and for military-industrial base profits. I'm sick of it. I can easily say I support nuclear-armed Israel's right to defend themselves. So do I. I don't give a fuck if Israel wants to attack Iran. Like, that's their business. I don't care. I support Israel. Go do what you gotta do. I supported them much more, with the Hamas shit. I kind of understood that more. But yeah, do what you want to fucking do, Israel. Just stop dragging us into it. Because now you got us. We're going to fight your war for you, it looks like. Nor for any other country, for that matter. I'm sick of funding foreign aid in foreign countries and foreign everything. I want to fund American interests and issues. I want great trade deals so American businesses and people can afford goods and be successful. Amen, dude. Fucking men. I want low inflation and low interest rates. I want American construction, housing, and manufacturing to boom. I want Americans to be rich and have security in their future. I want my children's generation to have a great future. My kids are 22, 25, and 27. Great. Perfect age to go die in Iran. It pisses me off beyond comprehension that my children's generation can't afford to buy a house, can't afford insurance, and have little hope for their future, which is a direct cause of funding these fucking foreign wars. There's a direct connection, guys, to the fucking suffering that we face as American citizens financially and what our government is doing overseas, constantly spending tons and tons of money, creating debt, devaluing our dollar, and making the world hate us. I can also support President Trump and his great administration on many of the great things they are doing while disagreeing on bombing Iran and getting involved in a hot war that Israel started. That's not disloyalty. Critical thinking and having my own opinion is the most American thing ever. Jesus, this is a long message. I think we get the point, MGT. But yeah, based. I like her. I used to think she was just cringe and weird. And Patrick Bet David, I think he's Iranian. So I think he hates the Iran regime that's running things right now. Because he seems to be very much for this.
There is a community of people in the last, since October 7th, that absolutely cannot stand, trust anything with Israel, and that triggers them. Rank me the top 5 deranged syndromes.
Sam M., I am 100 million fucking times smarter than you, bro. And for you to come in here and act like you know my intelligence and you're somehow smarter than me when you're just some fucking random in a comment section, go start your own fucking channel and talk about this shit. Have the balls to go start your own channel and talk to hundreds of people about this shit, Sam. Go do that. I dare you, dude. I dare you. And if you want to, I'll debate you on this shit, and I'll make you look like a fucking retard, because you are, clearly.
If number 1 is TDS, what's 2?
Number 2 is Israel.
I guarantee number 2 is Israel.
100%.
And by the way, most of you are in one of the two camps.
Yeah. If not both.
Yeah, some are in both.
Yeah.
Everybody on the right was happy when Qasem Soleimani, oh my God, that's my leader. That's my president. He's shown strength.
I wasn't. I was against that too. But okay, that's not convenient for your little narrative here, is it?
But now, no. Why? Because there's Israel derangement syndrome.
That's what it is, guys. That's what it is. It's we're only upset at this war because it's Israel involved. That's it, guys. We're just it's just a bunch of anti-Semites. That's what it is. Oh, you're not anti-war. No, you're anti-Semite. That's what you are.
And guess what? You either have TDS or you have IDS. There is a community of people in the last, since October 7th, that
Sam didn't trigger me. I'm not. So this is what you fucking losers do. You go, oh my God, he responded to the guy attacking him. He's triggered. No, I reserve the right to fucking attack you back. If you're going to come on here and call me stupid and not engage with anything I'm fucking saying and just go, oh, you're just stupid. You don't understand anything. That tells me you have no fucking argument and you're the stupid one. Because I actually have an argument here that I'm making. And if you're not listening to it, well, maybe it's too beyond your comprehension. And you need to go back to listening to CNN and just, believing what they tell you, or Fox News, whatever bullshit propaganda you listen to.
Absolutely cannot stand, trust anything with Israel.
You pro-war people are fucking pathetic. You really are. You really are. You think you're real proud of yourselves right now. Just wait. Wait till 10 years when you'll probably pretend you like Ted Cruz. I was always against it.
And that triggers them.
Just
Rank
wait.
me the top.
Let's hope for everybody's sake that this doesn't escalate. But that would be a very small chance of happening at this point.
Top 5 deranged syndromes. If number 1 is TDS, what's 2?
Number 2 is Israel.
I guarantee number 2 is Israel.
100%.
And by the way, most of you are in one of the two camps.
Yeah, so that's the end of the clip. Basically, if you're not for this, you have Israel derangement syndrome. That's what it is. Yep. I'm not saying there aren't people that do, but it's very convenient to hide behind that every time. Every time you get any criticism, it's all just, it's just all a bunch of anti-Semites, all a bunch of people who hate Israel. That's what it is. Like, no, maybe people don't want to go to war. Maybe people have lived through the Iraq war, the Afghanistan war, the Libya disaster, the Syria disaster. And we're like, maybe we should stop doing that. No, you're an anti-Semite. You're an anti-Semite. Now I'm being told it's incredibly MAGA to be agreeing with Nikki Haley, Mike Pence, Lindsey Graham, Meghan McCain, Mark Levin, David French. What an interesting timeline. Yeah, great point. All right, so the Strait of Hormuz. I couldn't remember the name. Iran shutting it down, and this is why it's a big deal.
The Strait of Hormuz is one of the most...
Somebody said earlier, this is me fear-mongering. No, this is just reality. Iran is shutting down this strait, and a lot of our fucking... it's a huge shipping line. So, yeah, listen, she's going to explain it better than me.
Charged waterways on the planet. Empires fought for it, now global markets depend on it, and at its narrowest point, it's only about 20 to 30 miles wide. Yet, 1/5 of the world's global oil supply flows through it daily. As you can see, there's Iran to the north, and there's the Musandam Peninsula to the south, which is a little exclave of Oman. It's quite tiny here on the map, but you have beady eyes, I've noticed, that juts out from UAE territory. So this narrow throat is the only maritime exit from the Persian Gulf, meaning that there's no other sea route for the vast energy exports of Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Iraq, the UAE, Qatar, Bahrain. So it connects the Persian Gulf to the Gulf of Oman, to the Arabian Sea, and then if the whiteboard was massive, the Indian Ocean. So it's linking Asia, the Middle East, and the global economy. As you might guess, this strait has been contested for millennia by the early Alamites of ancient Iran, the first Persian Empire under Cyrus the Great, Portuguese naval powers, the Ottomans, the Safavids. They all were seeking to control this vital trade artery between East and West. And today, Iran holds tactical control of this northern coast. And just days ago, a senior Iranian commander warned that Tehran was considering closing the strait in response to Israeli strikes. Iran correctly sees Hormuz as ultimate strategic leverage.
I'm muted? You saying I'm muted? Muted? I'm not muted. I shouldn't be muted. I'm hearing myself. I'm seeing the fucking... You guys are... How could you not hear me? I'm seeing my mic being picked up. Yeah, I bet you this is coming off. Hold. Yeah. That had to be what it was. This thing was coming off. The little, connection. No, what I told Mr. B was, or whatever, Sam. All right.
Brandon Merrill super chatted $10.
Exactly.
No matter who you vote for, you will always get John McCain.
I was telling Sam. Sam said he's not for war. He just acknowledges reality or whatever. And I'm okay. Well, can you acknowledge the reality, Sam, that this decision is escalating to a war? Okay, so you're not for war, but you're for this decision that 99% chance is going to escalate to a war. It's okay. You're not for war, Sam. You're just stupid. That's what it seems like to me.
Not to strike Israel directly, but to pressure the global order. So if cornered
Thank
by
you for $10,
Israeli
Brandon.
action or Western backing, it can
100%
threaten
agree.
a blockade, which would cripple oil markets and punish Israel's allies. So it would force the US, Europe, and the Gulf states to make a choice. Pressure Israel to back down, escalate militarily, or absorb the economic pain. So would Iran follow through on this? Well, it's an extreme scenario, and its feasibility is debated.
They've already done it. They've already said they're closing it down. They're probably closing it down now. And this is probably going to force America to escalate, because now there's a couple choices. You sit there and you let the prices of goods go up, and you lose support from the American people when the cost of oil, eggs. I mean, if the cost of energy goes up, it's going to cause the cost of everything to go up. Or you go in there and you go, well, now we got to go take Iran. Now we need to go do regime change. All of this is leading to another Iraq situation unless drastically different decisions are made very quickly.
Plus, closing this strait would hurt Iran's own exports. It would strain its ties with China, it would risk US escalation, but the threat of this alone was enough to shock markets, understandably as well, because it would send oil prices and inflation soaring, it would disrupt currencies and shipping lanes, and also the flow of food, medicine, and basic goods, which also come through here.
Okay, so we understand. Get ready for higher prices. Oh, where did I go? End up on my notifications. There we go. So yeah, regime change, MAGA influence. Ooh, where are we going here, boys? Why is this jumping around? MAGA, calm down, X. MAGA influencer pivot. Trump was not involved with Israel bombing Iran. He was involved, but that's good. He's pursuing diplomacy and peace. The diplomacy was fake, but that's good. He's bombing Iran, but no regime change. He's doing regime change, but that's good. Oh boy, we got a bunch of NPCs, man. So, I mean, there's a ton of MAGA NPCs. Yeah, I read this one earlier. Bombing a country doesn't mean you're at war with them, is something even Orwell thought would be too over the top. Breaking the New York Times. The U.S. has obtained intelligence indicating that Iran-backed militias are planning attacks on military bases in Iraq and Syria in retaliation for the recent U.S. strikes on Iran. Well, no shit, Mark Levine. No shit. This is the guy that was celebrating, like, God bless everybody, I love it. He was so happy when we attacked Iran. Acting like, oh, this is the end. We just put a stop. No, this is the beginning of the escalation that's going to lead to another forever fucking war. That's going to be worse than Iraq. It's going to be 100 times worse than Iraq. And yeah, so of course, as these guys are smart enough to know, Iran's going to retaliate. We're going to retaliate. And eventually it ends up in regime change. Okay? Stop being dumb, Sam. And thinking that this move is going to avoid war when this was the actual move that kicks off a fucking war. Now, I'm not a big fan of Pozo, but even Pozo knows about Operation Ajax. Pretty smart guy. Did Americans do regime change in Iran? And I know this is AI, but this is actual all legit. This is not AI hallucinating. This is real. Go look up whatever sources you want. The AI is a great search engine that can fucking just find it for you instead of you having to go through each website. Yes, the United States, in collaboration with the United Kingdom, orchestrated a regime change in Iran in 1953 through a coup d'etat known as Operation Ajax. So yeah, Iran started it. Iran's just evil. Just evil. I'm sure they think we're real beautiful over here, right? They don't think we're evil as we fuck with their fucking country. The CIA and MI6 supported the overthrow of Iran's democratically elected Prime Minister Mohammad Mossadegh, who had nationalized, this is why, right? It's always about the oil, who had nationalized the Anglo-Iranian Oil Company, now British Petroleum. Very convenient, very convenient. The coup reinstated the Shah Mohammad Reza Pahlavi, consolidating his power and aligning Iran with Western interests against Soviet influence during the Cold War. Declassified documents, such as those released by the CIA in 2013, confirmed the U.S. role in planning and funding the operation, which included propaganda and bribing key figures to ensure its success. Why do they hate us? They just hate us because they ain't us. They hate us for our freedom. Remember, they need to bring that back. Trump, you need to bring back that Bush line. If you're going to go full Bush, bring that back. They hate us for our freedom. They hate us because we're free. Did Iran ever attack the U.S. in any way before 1953 to provoke this? No, Iran did not attack the United States in any way prior to the 1953 coup, Operation Ajax. There are no historical records of Iranian military or government-led actions against U.S. territory, citizens, or interests before the event. The coup was primarily from U.S. and U.K. concerns over Iran's nationalization of its oil industry, particularly the Anglo-Iranian Oil Company, and fears of potential Soviet influence in Iran during the Cold War, rather than a response to any direct Iranian aggression towards the U.S. These declassified CIA documents on Operation Ajax confirmed the motivations were economic and geopolitical, not retaliatory. We have to know the whole story. We cannot pretend like these people just fucking out of nowhere decided they wanted to fucking blow themselves up for no fucking reason whatsoever. We brought on most of this. Now, there's no excuse for radical Islam and the bullshit. Like, there's a lot of ways radical Islam is fucking terrible and it does terrible things. But we've made the people more radical. And we've made them terrified to the point where they're willing to get radical people in charge because it makes them feel safer. Now let's take a look at all the countries that we've done regime change. Only the year 2000. This is not going to include Operation Ajax and all the regime change we did before. This is just since the year 2000, okay? The topic of U.S. involvement in regime change is complex, often involving a mix of overt military actions, covert operations, and diplomatic pressures. Since 2000, there have been several instances where the United States has been directly or indirectly linked to regime change efforts. Below is a list of countries where the U.S. has been credibly associated with such actions since 2000. All right, let's get down to it. Yugoslavia, probably the one that turned out the best. Okay, the least of the disasters was Yugoslavia in 2000. U.S. involvement. The U.S. played a significant role in the overthrow of Slobodan Milosevic following the 2000 Yugoslavian general election. The U.S. provided financial and logistical support to opposition groups, including millions of dollars funneled through the National Endowment for Democracy. And the other channels. The CIA has... Come on, Joe, calm down.
Wilford Brimley super chatted $2. Just a reminder, we lost every war for past 80 years.
Thank you for reminding me, Wilford. That's if I wasn't as depressed. Yeah. Because it's not about winning them. It's just about grifting off the fucking taxpayer. The CIA also organized opposition meetings abroad and supported campaign. Thank you for the $2, Wilford. Thank you for your support. Campaigns to undermine Milosevic's regime, contributing to the bulldozer revolution that ousted him after he refused to accept election results. Outcome immediate. Milosevic was overthrown on October 5th, 2000, and a pro-Western government under Vajislav took power, making a shift towards democratic governance in alignment with Western interests. Long-term, Yugoslavia's dissolution continued, with Serbia emerging as a key successor state. The country faced challenges in stabilizing its democracy, including corruption and economic struggles. While Serbia eventually pursued EU integration, tensions with Kosovo, a US-backed independence movement, and lingering nationalism complicated regional stability. The intervention is considered a rare success in terms of achieving US goals, but did not fully resolve ethnic and political tensions. Okay, we're starting off that one. I guess we can say it was a rare success. Okay. Now let's get to Afghanistan. U.S. involvement following... Here, I'll zoom out so you guys can see the whole thing and read along with me. Sorry about that. If there's a way I can even... it's always cutting it off. Yeah, no matter how far back I go, it's still fucking cutting it off. Great. All right. You guys are going to have me read it. Afghanistan, 2001. Following the September 11 attacks, the U.S. invaded Afghanistan to topple the Taliban-led Islamic Emirate, which had harbored Al-Qaeda. Which, by the way, don't forget about the Russia-Afghanistan war and who were we giving money to? So, I mean, again, our fingers are all over this. Our hands are all over this. Operation Enduring Freedom, launched in October 2001. You can hear Bush saying that. This Operation Enduring Freedom. Hey, yeah. Launched in October 2001, involved U.S. and allied forces supporting the Northern Alliance to remove Taliban from power. The U.S. installed Hamid Karzai as interim leader, aiming to establish a democratic government. The Taliban was ousted by December 2001, and Karzai's interim government was established, followed by a new constitution in 2004. The U.S. and allies began nation-building efforts. Long-term, the intervention led to a prolonged insurgency, with the Taliban regrouping and waging a decades-long war. Corruption, weak governance, and insecurity plagued the U.S.-backed government. By 2021, the Taliban regained control after U.S. withdrawal. We all remember that. That was a fucking disaster. Negating many democratic gains, the intervention resulted in significant loss of life, over 170,000 deaths. Oh, ain't that sweet? Including civilians, per estimates. Massive financial costs, over $2 trillion, probably more than that. And limited success, by the way, that's $2 trillion that could have gone into our economy. Instead, it's just set on fire. And limited success in establishing a stable democracy. Afghanistan remains unstable, with humanitarian crises worsening under Taliban rule. So we just wasted 20 fucking years and trillions of dollars. On what? For what? But we got Osama, guys. Iraq, 2003, U.S. involvement. The U.S. under President George W. Bush led the invasion of Iraq in March 2003, citing weapons of mass destruction. Same playbook. They're repeating the same playbook. They know that a lot of this country is dumb enough they can repeat the same fucking playbook. End ties to terrorism. The invasion toppled Saddam Hussein's Ba'athist regime, with U.S. forces occupying the country and establishing a coalition provisional authority to oversee a transition to a new government. Outcome immediate. Saddam Hussein's government collapsed in April 2003, and as a transitional government was established, the U.S. aimed to install a democratic regime, with elections held in 2005. Long-term, the invasion triggered a sectarian insurgency, widespread violence, and the rise of groups like ISIS. Some of you don't want to listen to this. I see some of you still in the chat think that, somehow, what I'm saying is, embarrassing to me or something. You're retarded. You're retarded, and you're ignoring history and reality because you want to be in a cult, I guess? I'm not sure. Long term, the invasion triggered a sectarian insurgency, widespread violence, and the rise of groups like ISIS. Iraq's government struggled with corruption, sectarian divides, and Iranian influence. Yeah, by the way, what happened when we got rid of Saddam? Iran got more influence over Iraq. So we basically made Iran stronger in Iraq. And Iran pretty much runs Iraq now, if I'm not If I'm not mistaken, but maybe I'm wrong. Over 200,000 civilian deaths and 4,500, not running it, but like their influence over Iraq is huge compared to what it was before. Over 200,000 civilian deaths, right? That's 200,000 people died that wouldn't have died if we didn't do that. But no, we're fine, guys. We're fine. We didn't do anything wrong. We didn't, we're not responsible for all that. Oh, America, God's behind us. God's behind us, guys. With costs exceeding $1 trillion, the country remains unstable with weak governance and ongoing militia activity. The intervention is widely viewed as a failure. It is a failure. It's not just widely viewed. In achieving a stable, democratic Iraq, harming U.S. credibility and regional stability. It doesn't get any better. Libya. You guys remember Gaddafi? Oh boy. Poor Gaddafi. The U.S. alongside NATO intervened in Libya in 2001 under the pretext of protecting civilians during the Arab Spring uprising against Muammar Gaddafi. The U.S. provided air support, intelligence, and logistical aid to rebels, leading to Gaddafi's overthrow and death in October 2011. Was not a very pretty death, boys. It was. You don't wish that on your worst enemy. The intervention was authorized by UN Security Council Resolution 1973, but evolved into regime change, which is what's going to happen in Iran. You watch, it's going to evolve into regime change. And I hope I'm fucking wrong. Gaddafi's regime was toppled, and a transitional government was established under the National Transitional Council with US and Western support. Long term, Libya descended into chaos with competing militias, warlords, and governments vying for control. Civil war persisted with factions like ISIS gaining footholds. American-backed ISIS? Which ISIS are we talking about here? The country remains divided with ongoing violence and a collapsed economy. The intervention led to regional instability, including arms proliferation and migration crisis. It is widely criticized as a failure. It is a failure, with little progress towards democracy and significant humanitarian cost. Tens of thousands killed, millions displaced. You talk about the fucking Islam is invading all of our countries and they're immigrating. We're bringing them in because we keep fucking with where they live. We've made it to where now other countries have to take them in. And then this is where we started seeing the rise of, Muslim immigration in Germany, France, all these countries. PC Doodle, thank you, guys.
Super chatted $5. Thanks for the video and your viewpoint.
Thank you, PC Doodle. I appreciate you, bro. Thank you for the $5. Where did I leave off here? Okay, so now we go to Syria, 2011 to present. U.S. involvement during the Syrian civil war, the U.S. pursued regime change against Bashar al-Assad's government, particularly through covert CIA programs. It's always the CIA getting involved, like Timber Sycamore, which armed and trained anti-Assad rebels starting in 2012. The U.S. also conducted airstrikes against Syrian government targets and supported Kurdish forces, aiming to weaken Assad and counter ISIS. If any other country behaved this way, we would be treating them like they were a terrorist country and they needed to be regime changed. If a country behaved the way we behaved, Trump would be trying to regime change him right now. While not an overt invasion, U.S. policy explicitly called for Assad's removal. Outcome, immediate. The U.S. support bolstered opposition forces. Well, I wonder how that works. Contributing to prolonged conflict but failing to oust Assad. The intervention also helped degrade ISIS, particularly by 2019. Long term, Assad remains in power. Actually, Assad's not in power anymore. This is out of date. Didn't they fucking finally get rid of Assad? Backed by Russia and Iran, with Syria devastated by war, over 500,000 deaths, millions displaced, U.S.-backed rebels lost ground, and countries fragmented, with foreign powers, Russia, Turkey, Iran, exerting influence. The U.S. failed to achieve regime change, and Syria's humanitarian crisis persists. The intervention is seen as strategic miscalculation with limited gains and significant regional destabilization. They need to update this one. This one's out of date. Venezuela. The U.S. under President Donald Trump pursued regime change against Nicolas Maduro's government. Remember this? I almost forgot about this. Remember when they brought the Venezuelan president? Like, oh, he's the new president of Venezuela. Like, no, he was never the president of Venezuela. Good try, though. The U.S. recognized opposition leader Juan Guaido as interim president in January 2019, imposed severe economic sanctions, and threatened military action, though none occurred. That's the other thing. We're always doing sanctions and shit. Like, maybe we should stop sanctioning countries as well, too. I don't think it does any fucking good. And it's, again, another way of kicking the hornet's nest. And threatened military action, though none occurred. The State Department coordinated with Guaido and allies to pressure Maduro's ouster. Immediate. Guaido gained international recognition from the U.S. in over 50 countries, but Maduro retained power because, yeah, he was the actual president. Supported by the military, Russia, and China, sanctions crippled Venezuela's economy. So, yeah, you just made them more desperate again. Good job. Maduro remains in power as of 2025 with Venezuela's economy in ruins, hyperinflation, mass immigration. The U.S.-backed opposition fractured and Guaido's influence waned. The intervention failed to achieve regime change, exacerbating humanitarian suffering, millions displaced, widespread poverty. Critics argue U.S. sanctions backfired, strengthening Maduro's grip while harming civilians. That's what you do. When you fucking make life harder for people, they get more radical, and they are more willing to fucking rally around a fucking radical, crazy president. You just don't. When you get involved in other countries' shit, you don't make things better. You don't. Leave people the fuck alone. Let's try that for once and see how that... Let's give like 40 years of just leaving people alone and see what happens. Common outcomes, instability and civil war. Iraq, Libya, and Syria experienced prolonged civil conflicts post-intervention, with Afghanistan also facing a resurgent insurgency. Okay, so this is more of a... Okay, this is an overall. Success rate. Of the 6 cases... Only Yugoslavia can be considered a partial success in terms of achieving U.S. goals. And who knows if those goals are even what they say they are. You can't believe anything fucking governments say anymore, including our own. Installing a pro-Western government, though long-term stability was not fully achieved. The other 5 cases, Afghanistan, Iraq, Libya, Syria, Venezuela, largely failed to establish stable democratic governments or align with U.S. interests. Common outcomes. Instability and civil war. Iraq, Libya, and Syria experienced prolonged civil conflicts post-intervention, with Afghanistan also facing a resurgent insurgency. Humanitarian costs. Each case saw a significant loss of life, displacement, and economic collapse, often worse than other prior regimes. But nobody cares about that, right? Nobody cares that America is murdering people, right? No, because we're doing it in the name of God. God gave us permission. God said we can murder people because, whoa. Backlash and anti-American sentiment. Interventions often fueled anti-U.S. sentiment, empowering adversaries like Iran and Iraq or Russia and Syria and Venezuela. Yeah, it's led to the BRICS. It's led to like all these countries that have been fucking iced out of the global community. They're starting their own little community, and that's not helping us. Limited democratization. Studies such as those by Alexander Downs and Lindsay O'Rourke show that foreign-imposed regime change rarely leads to democracy and often increases repression or instability. It's also seen when it's in... I mean, you can see it. It's every time we've done this, it's the result is what this guy's saying. So not even in theory or whatever. We've seen this in practice every time. Motivations. U.S. actions were often justified as promoting democracy or countering threats, terrorism, communism, weapon of mass destructions. But economic interests, oil in Iraq, Libya, and geopolitical strategies, e.g. countering Russia, Iran, were also significant drivers. It was the main fucking reason. But they sell it to us as, we gotta keep you safe from the boogeyman. Do you want to get nuked? How are you going to let Iran get a nuke? I guess you just want your children to get nuked by Iran. It's so see-through at this point, but people still fall for it. Notes and caveats. Scope limitation. The list focuses on clear cases of U.S.-led or supported regime change efforts since 2000. Other countries, Ukraine, 2014, are sometimes cited in discussions of U.S. involvement, but evidence of direct regime change intent is less conclusive, so they didn't even put Ukraine in here because they felt like there's not enough evidence, but we know that was a regime change we did as well. Anyway, just a little history lesson in case some of you, I don't know, maybe don't remember. Let's see. Yep. That's it for that. Let's get back to, I think I had some more bookmarks here. Follow up on. Now, with that being said, let's play this.
This catch-22 between how do we stop that? We don't want them to...
I'm going to go take a pee real quick. And since there's been a big deal about playing things when you're not here to react, H3 suing people that would go to the bathroom and said, so I'm going to put on the be right back and not play this while I'm not here because apparently that's a problem, even though it's like literally 30 seconds. I'll be right back. I gotta piss.
Oh my, what could it be? It looks like it's technical difficulty. Or maybe someone is at the door. Or Or maybe Ping just don't wanna be here no more. Maybe he just wants to pee or grab a little protein. Whatever the case may be, Ping will be right back, that's a guarantee. We're having technical difficulties. We're having technical difficulties. We're having technical difficulties. We're having technical difficulties. Hello, hello, are you there? Hey, where are you? We're having technical difficulties. We're having technical difficulties. We're having technical difficulties. We're having technical difficulties. Oh my, what could it be? It looks like it's technical difficulty.
All right, I'm back. Quick piss. Told you it'd be quick.
To get the nuclear weapon, and we don't want to go to war, we make Israel do our dirty work.
Right, and so this is the false binary that you keep coming back to.
I'm asking you what the I mean, you said, oh, have Russia negotiate.
Wait, hold on. What if we did not war?
Well, again, I don't think it is war.
I mean,
that's fucking genius, Tim. Fucking genius.
I think it's a strike against.
It's just a bad faith tactic on your part.
I'm not saying
I could easily say you're either.
I'm saying specifically
you're either a warmonger or you're not. So you're a warmonger. So you're a warmonger.
I'm not saying war. I'm saying a strike.
Right, so I could do that all night, but I'm not that kind of guy. So I don't like doing that.
Ooh, this is spicy.
I love it.
He is a warmonger.
People though, you do say that all the time. No, but again,
see, I kind of didn't like Jack Pozo. I don't know why. I just something about him. I was like, but yeah, I'm liking Sabic a little bit, whatever the fuck his name is. I'm liking him a little more now.
And I'm not talking about it to Mark Levin, to Lindsey Graham, to people who deserve it.
Elad, admit it. You're a Bolton bro.
Well,
John Bolton. Aha! The mustache has taken over.
Judge come in here wearing that mustache and tell me that Raytheon doesn't get you hot.
I think there was a reason Trump brought him on at one point for a reason. So,
did you guys see this? That when Trump made an announcement. I can't remember what it was. It was last night. Like at some point, Trump made a statement, and then all of the military-industrial complex stock after hours jumped.
Oh yeah,
I wonder what it's at right now. I bet it's going up.
Wait, Tim, are you saying there's a financial incentive towards war?
How dare you?
Are you saying that?
Heavens!
Wow.
Are you saying that would be unethical?
Are you saying that one of the world's largest oil producers in Iran that?
Dude, why can't I just click to the side of it without you doing that? I fucking hate
catch-22
between that mustache.
Oh yeah. Within
you know
the
what I like? I like
possibility.
Lockheed. It's a cool.
World's largest oil producers in Iran. That this flow of oil, this massive flow of oil, may have something to do with what's driving these events. Is that entirely somewhere within?
You know
the
what I like? I like
possibility?
Lockheed. It's a cool name, Lockheed. You know what I mean? Yeah, Lockheed. You know.
There's actually a great book.
They're up 2.6%.
There's actually a great book that's written all about regime change in Iran and sort of the previous regime change operations the U.S. has been involved in, and it's called Dune by Frank Herbert.
Dune.
I've never seen the movie Dune, but now this kind of makes me want to watch it because apparently that's what it's about. Like the whole story is basically the same thing that America was doing in Iran.
I'm dead serious. You didn't know this?
Look at this. This is hilarious. When the war starts,
North of Grumman,
spiked straight up.
Yeah, but Tim, you know about this, right? So the book Dune and the movies Dune are all about regime change in Iran.
Oh, really?
Yeah. No, 100%, like dead serious.
Oh, the movies were terrible.
Yes, they were.
That's why I watched a little bit of the first Dune when I was young, and it was like so boring. But that makes me kind of want to watch it now as an adult. Okay, yeah, that's it. All right, boys. That's it. I don't know what else I got to talk about. Oh, let's see. I think I did have some other shit here. I think I had some YouTube links. Hold on, let me pull this up. What do we got here? Did you guys hear about the Vance Bolter guy? I don't think I have a link on this, but the Bolter guy, the guy that assassinated that state senator in Minnesota, he's claiming that he was working for Tim fucking Waltz, boys. That a little weird or what? Is that a little weird? I mean, So the claim is that Waltz was trying to take out Klobuchar or some shit so that he could replace, not the rumors, this is what this fucking guy's saying. Wouldn't that be wild if that's true? If Tim Waltz is actually fucking the one giving that guy orders to assassinate Democrats. A lot of people believe it. A lot of people fucking believe it. I don't know though. Can you take a madman's word for it? Okay, yeah, some of these are a little bit off here. Hold on. Do we want to see what Iran has to say? You guys interested in what Iran has to say? Will I be locked up in Guantanamo for playing this? I mean, I think it's important to hear what the other side's saying, don't you think?
Zentekio super chatted $10.
Thank you, Zentekio. You rock, dude. What are we at likes-wise? We pass 100 yet? I forgot to keep harassing you guys to like my shit. Where are we at? 107. Good job, boys. Appreciate it. If you haven't hit it yet, you know, maybe you could hit it. But if you did hit it, don't hit it again. Do not hit it twice. But if you haven't hit it, you can hit it. All right, let's see what Iran has to say. I haven't watched this. So, let's see.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Very good morning to you, ladies and gentlemen. I'm so glad to be with you this morning. Actually, we invited you yesterday for a briefing on the latest developments on the ground and, of course, on diplomatic process.
I think we're going to need to speed this one up.
Because I came here from Geneva, where we had our first ministerial meeting of Iran E3, and then I had here yesterday lots of useful, important meetings with the foreign ministers of our region, and we discussed about different initiatives and ideas existed for a peaceful settlement of this question. But as all of you know, we suddenly faced with the aggression by American forces to our nuclear facilities. The Islamic Republic of Iran condemns in the strongest terms the United States' brutal military aggression against Iran's peaceful nuclear facilities. It is an outrageous, grave, and unprecedented violation of the fundamental principles of the Charter of the United Nations and international law. The warmongering and lawless administration in Washington.
Forgot to say hi to John. How you doing, John? John, we need you to run for president. I mean, at this point, John, you might be the answer to these problems. So come on, John. When are you running for president, bro? How you doing, John? Hope you're doing good.
Is solely and fully responsible for the dangerous consequences and far-reaching implications of its act of aggression. The U.S. military attack on the territorial integrity and national sovereignty
what a
of
surprise.
a UN
they didn't
member
like
state
it. Yeah, no shit, Donnie.
carried out with genocidal Israeli regime, carried out.
Well, Gabriel, their side of the story, and who knows, they're probably lying, because again, to me, they'd be dumb to not want to have a nuke at this point, is that they're enriching uranium because they want to have nuclear power. They want to power their country with nuclear power, which they have the right to do.
Out in collusion with the genocidal Israeli regime has once again revealed the extent of the United States' hostility towards the peace-seeking people of Iran, who will never compromise over their independence and sovereignty. The Islamic Republic of Iran continue to defend Iran's...
James, that might actually make it better, though, James. I think John would make the best president. We need presidents like John. And John, here's the thing. You don't have to do anything when you're president. Just shut down the federal government. Shut it all down except for like the military and antitrust, John. John, just hire me. When you become president, hire me as your advisor and just do everything I tell you, okay? And we'll fucking fix this country, John.
Territory, sovereignty, security, and people, by all means necessary, against not just US military aggression, but also the reckless and unlawful actions of the Israeli regime. While President Trump was elected on a platform of putting an end to America's costly involvement of forever wars in our part of the world, he has betrayed not only Iran by abusing our commitment to diplomacy, but also deceived his own voters by submitting to the wishes of a wanted war criminal who has grown accustomed to exploiting the lives and wealth of American citizens.
See, this is all an act, guys. This guy's not an intelligent man who sounds very diplomatic and smart. He's a psychopathic murderer. The moment he has a chance, he's going to murder everybody. Okay, I just want you all to know. Don't fall for the act, guys. Don't fall for the act. These are psychopathic murderers who just can't wait to destroy the entire world. Okay.
To further the Israeli regime's objectives, the U.S. act of aggression against Iran's peaceful nuclear facilities constitutes not only a flagrant breach of the UN Charter,
Wilson super chatted $2. He would just mandate grilled cheese and Capri Sun.
Is that one of your policies that you're going to run on, John? I mean, that don't sound too bad to me, dude. That's better than bombing Iran.
Prohibition of the use of force under Article 2, Paragraph 4, and the obligation to respect the state's territorial integrity and sovereignty, but also a violation of UN Security Council Resolution 2231.
Well, Mr. B, if you remember Tulsi Gabbard, they just let in the inspectors like back in March. They let in the inspectors, and the inspectors said there's no proof of a nuclear program, that they're trying to build a nuke, other than that they're enriching uranium past like 60% or something like that. So, it's weird how, March, 3 months ago, the community was like, they're not building, and then all of a sudden, they've been allowing inspectors in to inspect. And again, I know a lot of you think this is crazy. I think Iran has the right to have a fucking nuclear bomb. I think every country has a right to have the same defenses that every other country has.
It cannot be emphasized enough how much of a devastating blow that the US, a permanent member of the Security Council, has dealt to the global non-proliferation regime. The Islamic Republic of Iran reminds the United Nations, the Security Council, the UN Secretary General, the International Atomic Energy Agency, and other relevant international bodies of their duty and responsibility to take urgent and decisive action in response to this breach of international law. Silence in the face of such blatant aggression will plunge the world into an unprecedented level of danger and chaos. Humanity has come too far as a species to allow...
Lord Kimball, exactly. And then they looked at Lord Kimball says, they looked at Iraq and Libya and saw what happens when you disarm. Yeah, and they looked at North Korea and saw what happens when you actually get a nuke. The common sense is gone in this world, man. It really is.
A lawless bully to take us back to the law of the jungle. The Islamic Republic of Iran calls on the Security Council to convene an emergency session to unequivocally condemn the criminal act of aggression by the United States against Iran.
Zudi, I get it. Trump said that Iran can't have a nuke, but to say that Trump ran on that would be to ignore every fucking thing else he said. To ignore him constantly talking shit about the neocons and how they wanted to go to war with Iran. Like, the receipts are all there, Zudi. But you guys want to pretend just because he said Iran can't be allowed to have a nuke that meant that we all should have known that we were going to bomb Iran. No, it's the same shit everybody's been saying. Iran can't have a nuke, so we worked diplomatically to get them to not have a nuke, and they agreed to not have a nuke. And so that is just after the fact changing history to say that I always knew he was going to bomb Iran. I ran on this. He ran on this. No, he did not. He ran on the exact opposite of this.
And to hold the administration in Washington accountable for its violations of fundamental principles of United Nations Charter and of norms of international law. The responsibility of the IAEA and its Director General, who through evidence bias in favor of warmongering parties paved the way for the current violence and bloodshed, is now clearer than ever. We call on the IAEA Board of Governors.
GK, I get it. You guys think that some reason that these countries are going to commit suicide and murder themselves and everybody in there and basically destroy the whole world when they have a nuke. That's not why they want a nuke. They want a nuke for their own protection. They want to make sure they're not invaded. That's what it's about. But let's, we can create this boogeyman story of this country that's going to get a nuke and just start nuking everybody. Oh, they're going to nuke Israel and then they're going to nuke America. No, they want it for their own safety. The same reason every other country wants it. So they can join in the mutually assured destruction pack. That means we don't go to war. Why are all the wars always countries that don't have nukes? At least one side doesn't have a nuke. Excuse me. Mutually assured destruction. They want to join in that. They want a piece of that mutually assured destruction so they can have some fucking peace of mind. But let's pretend that that's not what it is. Because, that's not very American to pretend like Iran might have actual interests the same way every other country does in ensuring its own fucking survival in the long run.
To immediately convene
and you place a lot of trust in our fucking neocon establishment that has been proven, Zudi, to be full of shit and has robbed our entire country and ruined the livelihoods of American citizens for generations to come, Zudi. You put a lot of trust in them.
Its legal responsibility in response to the dangerous U.S. attack on Iran's peaceful nuclear facilities, all of which have been under the agency's full safeguards and monitoring. The world must not forget that it was the United States which, in the midst of a process to forge a diplomatic outcome, betrayed diplomacy by supporting the genocidal Israeli regime's launch of an illegal war of aggression on the Iranian nation. Not content with such malign actions, the United States itself has now also opted for a dangerous military operation and aggression.
But what if you're wrong, GK? What if your neighbor has a nuke, GK, and they're going to nuke you? Maybe you should go attack them. Maybe you should go attack your neighbor in case your neighbor's got a nuke, GK. I mean, what if you're wrong and they have a nuke and they're going to... Like, what kind of fucking thinking is that, dude? That's fear. That is fear-mongering boogeyman bullshit, dude.
Against the people of Iran. In doing so, the U.S. administration holds sole...
A month ago, we gave no fucks about Iran. No one was sitting here going, but what if Iran gives... All of a sudden, now we're just like, it's because you're covering... I get it. You like Trump. You want Trump to be the man. But when even the people you support, you have to call them out. I support Trump. I voted for him. I want him to do good things. But it's important for our side to steer the ship when it starts going astray and not just sit there and go, yes, sir, whatever you say, sir. I'm a good cult member.
And full responsibility for the consequences of its actions, including the Islamic Republic of Iran's right to self-defense under the principles of the United Charter. In accordance with the UN Charter and its provisions allowing a legitimate response in self-defense, Iran reserves all options to defend its security.
I'm doing whataboutism, GK. You're the one that's like putting these fucking boogeyman hypothetical scenarios that, I mean, like, I guess are just trying to justify creating a war with a country of 90 million people. Which one am I more worried about? Going to war with a country of 90 million people, or this hypothetical, which is becoming ever increasingly more real every second, or this hypothetical scenario where Iran's going to get a nuke and just going to nuke the rest of the world and commit suicide? Okay, dude.
And people.
We'll have to agree to disagree.
Thank you very much.
Is he going to take questions?
We will now be taking questions.
Yeah, he will be taking
questions. We'd like
questions.
to start with the Associated Press.
If you guys can't handle me responding to your questions, then just stop asking questions. Stop being a pussy, Sam. Sometimes it's so funny how people in the comment section do that. They're attacking you, asking questions, and then you respond, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh no, don't fucking say anything if you don't want me to respond to the shit you're saying, dude. Grow a pair. Oh, well, he's got water. That's nice. Why do we allow them to have water? How come they have water? They should not have any water. Where are the sanctions?
Distinguished Minister, are the doors for negotiation still open? Can you hear me now? Distinguished Minister, the question is as follows. Is the door for negotiation still open?
No translation. Interpreter, please speak.
Can you hear me, sir? Can you hear me, sir?
This is going well.
In the English channel, can you hear me?
If I may just step in here and just translate real quick for my colleague. He's asking if there are still room for negotiations moving forward.
It's all right.
Sam, you're a little bitch. I don't give a shit about what you say, Sam. So keep saying whatever you want to say. But when you say something of substance that I can fucking debate you with, I will debate you. Okay? So say something of substance and then cry like a little bitch when I make you look stupid, which is what you're doing, Sam.
No, you can't. His translate is okay.
Türkçe mi? Sayın Bakan, Ahmet Gannan yine televizyon Arabi. Müzakereler hala kapı açık mı görüyorsunuz? Tahran'la görüşmüş müydünüz? Bugün nükleer teslislere vurulan nükleer teslislere ne kadar bizde kaç zarar görmüştür?
What kind of damage has been incurred on the nuclear facilities? Is there any intermediary country like Turkey, like Saudi Arabia, like Qatar? Are you continuing your such activities of mediation? How do you see the process? Thank you.
Well, I have been in touch with Tehran, of course.
GK, I'm this close to getting you out of my comment section because you offer no fucking substance and you're just trying to troll and annoy me at this point. So why don't you stop with your oof, bad look, your stupid fucking typical troll fucking comments that have no fucking substance. And why don't you actually debate the substance of what I'm saying? Or get the fuck out of my comment section.
Of course, I still do not have exact information about the level of damages, but I don't think...
I wonder if we're ever going to find out how much, because how are we going to find out how much actual damage was done if the fucking facilities were even destroyed? Because we're just going to have to rely on what Iran says. Are they going to let inspectors in? Like, I don't know if we're ever going to know, like, was that fucking bombing even successful in the first place? Because we're getting two different stories and I can't believe either one.
It matters how much damages have been made. Attacking a nuclear facility by itself.
Okay, GK, sorry, but that's the kind of shit that gets on my nerves when people sit there and go, "Oh, this is a bad look. Oh, Pink Trip is stupid. Oh, it's like this shit's useless. It's useless. Fucking like, address what I'm fucking saying." So if you weren't talking to me, sorry, GK.
Is an unforgivable violation of international law and should be condemned.
I think they're suing. They are suing in the UN courts, America.
Yesterday, as I said, I had...
That is kind of a funny response. Oh, you want to bomb me? Well, I'm taking you to court.
Discussion, talks with a number of foreign ministers of the region. Almost all...
Guys, I'm fucking passionate. Would you rather me be like all these other fucking losers? Talk real monotone and quiet and everything. No, I'm passionate. This is the way I fucking act. I would act like this about the Atlanta Braves. You want to talk about the Atlanta Braves and how shitty they've been all fucking year? I'll be just as much passionate. So some of you're a little triggered by passionate people. I get it. But that's who I am.
All of them are very much concerned and interested to play a role to end this aggression by Israel, of course. They were worried about a possible attack by the United States, but yesterday we were all talking about how to stop the Israeli aggression. Well, of course.
Fuck you, Serena. Yeah, but they are trash. You're right. They are this year, but there's still time to turn it around, Serena. All right? They did it in 2021 after the All-Star break. So there's still a possibility, but I can't watch them this year. It's so fucking hard.
The door for diplomacy should be always keep open, but this is not the case right now. My country has been under attack, under aggression, and we have to respond based on our legitimate right of self-defense. And we will do that as long as needed and necessary.
Okay, I don't think we got to watch this whole thing. I think it's pretty clear. We'll keep watching it because maybe there are some more nuggets in here.
We now like to
won't
take
hear from
question from Al Jazeera.
mainstream media. Hopefully they'll be a little quicker this time, but the questions in the translation, you think you could do that? Come on, man. John Rocker was a good pitcher, GK. He was a little crazy, though. Like,
thank you very much, Minister.
He's a good closer.
You say that you need to respond right now, but we know that Iranians are known for their talents in negotiations in diplomacy and trade. What would be the conditions after responding for Iran to come back to a negotiation table, maybe with the US as well? And Turkey has been offering that Ankara can mediate for a trilateral between Turkey, US, and Iran. What would be your response to that? Because right now the US is technically involved in this conflict. Thank you.
Well, I think it is irrelevant to ask Iran to return to diplomacy because we were in the middle of diplomacy. We were in the middle of talks with the United States when Israelis blew it up. And again, we were in the middle of talks and negotiation with Europeans, happened only 2 days ago in Geneva, when this time Americans decided to blow it up. So we were in diplomacy, but we were attacked militarily. So it was not Iran, but the US who betrayed diplomacy. They betrayed negotiations. When at the middle of negotiations with us, they gave green light to Israelis, if not instructed them, to attack Iran's nuclear facilities. I think they have proved that they are not men of diplomacy, and they only understand the language of threat and force. And this is very unfortunate. The United States showed that they have no respect to United Nations Charter. They have no respect to international law. They have no respect to any international law regarding, managing the board and facing challenges.
Because I wanted to open up that one fucking report, and all the ads are fucking. Oh, I hate these outlets, dude. You want to read a fucking news report, and it's like so many ads. So yeah, this is the latest from Russia. Nations prepare to arm Iran with nuclear warheads after U.S. strikes. Russia's Medvedev claims. Medvedev suggested that the United States attacks on 3 sites in Isfahan, Natanz, and Fordo backfired and led to the opposite result from what U.S. President Donald Trump had set out to achieve. A number of countries are ready to supply Iran with nuclear warheads. Following American strikes on nuclear facilities early on Sunday, Russian ex-president Dmitry Medvedev claimed on social media. In a post on X Twitter, Medvedev suggested that the United States attacks on 3 sites in Isfahan, Natanz, okay, you just said that. According to Medvedev, enrichment of nuclear material, and now we can say it outright, the future production of nuclear weapons will continue. Russia's foreign ministry said on Sunday that Russia strongly condemns the U.S. attacks on Iran's nuclear sites. The irresponsible decision to subject the territory of a sovereign state to missile and bomb attacks, whatever the arguments it may be presented with, flagrantly violates international law, the Charter of the United Nations, and resolutions of the United States Security Council, the ministry said in its statement. We call for an end to aggression and for increased efforts to create conditions for returning the situation to political and diplomatic track, the ministry said. Supplying Iran with nuclear warheads. In addition, he said a number of countries are ready to directly supply Iran with their own nuclear warheads. Medvedev, who has served, so I think I might have that somewhere on saved on X. Hold on a second. Oh, here we go. This is it. From Dmitry Medvedev, this is his thread unrolled. What have Americans accomplished with their nighttime strikes on 3 nuclear sites in Iran? Critical infrastructure of the nuclear fuel cycle appears to have been unaffected or sustained only minor damage. The enrichment of nuclear material, and now we can say it outright, the future production of nuclear weapons will continue. And they're threatening to give them a nuclear warhead. That worked out real well, boys. That worked out real well. Real well. I guess we just got to have nuclear war with Russia. I guess that's how we solve this. A number of countries are ready to directly supply Iran with their own nuclear warheads. Great. It's a good job. This works real well. This is good. It's going to get the outcome you guys want, right? More peace. More peace. Israel is under attack. Explosions are rocking the country and people are panicking. Iran's going to end up with a nuclear weapon either way. They are. Unless we go in right now and murder everybody and fucking, build a bunch of McDonald's and shit. They're going to end up with a nuclear weapon. The U.S. Israel is under attack, explosions are rocking the country, and people are panicking. The U.S. is now entangled in a new conflict with prospects of a ground operation looming on the horizon. Iran's political regime has survived and in all likelihood has come out even stronger. The people are rallying around, so the people of Iran hate their leadership. They want to have a coup. Well, maybe you shouldn't have done this. If you wanted those fucking people to have a coup against the Islamic leadership that they supposedly hate so much. The people are rallying around the country's spiritual leadership, including those who were previously indifferent or opposed to it. But I know what a lot of people are going to say. Oh, this is Russia. They're just lying. This very well could be lying. But I imagine it's not all lies. Donald Trump, once held as president of peace, has now pushed the U.S. into another war. The vast majority of countries around the world oppose the actions of Israel and the United States. 10. At this rate, Trump can forget about the Nobel Peace Prize. Not even with how rigged it has become. What a way to kick things off, Mr. President. Congratulations. So yeah, that's Dmitry Medvedev. Ex-president, I think, or something. He was a president, I don't know. I forget. I don't follow Russia politics that much, but I know he was it prime minister or president or some shit? All right. Just want to let you guys know about that.
There is no red line that they have not crossed. And the last one, and the most dangerous one, happened only last night, when they crossed a very big red line by attacking nuclear facilities. I don't know how much room is left for diplomacy. We are now calculating the damages. And as I said, the damages are not only for our nuclear facilities. The damages are for the United Nations Charter. It was not only Iran's facilities which was bombed, it was also the United Nations Charter. It was also Non-Proliferation Regime and NPT, which was bombed last night by Americans. And it was...
Okay. Well, it sounds like they should let the UN in, a third party, a trusted third party, to go and inspect what was bombed, and we need answers here. We need a third party to go in and figure out what the fuck's going on. Yeah, we'll stop. We'll stop. I don't know. We'll play it.
The rule of law.
This is so hard.
And international law.
I don't want to listen to the fucking foreign minister of Iran, but you know, it seems kind of important to at this point to know what the fuck they're saying.
Now we have to see how much room is left for diplomacy, and we will decide.
I'd like to hand over to TRT World.
TRT? What?
Mr. Minister, the U.S. President Donald Trump warned that Iran must now make peace, otherwise the future attacks, he says, will be far greater and much easier. So how is Tehran responding to that threats from Washington? Thank you.
I think it's not up to Iran to respond to that. The whole international community should respond of such a clear threat against the United Nations Charter. Iran has done nothing wrong. We do not understand why Iran should be attacked for a false accusation that Iran is seeking nuclear weapons. It's now more than 20 years that we are trying to prove that our peaceful nuclear program is in fact peaceful and would remain peaceful. We negotiated for a long time with the so-called P5+1, and we came to a deal which the whole world celebrated as an achievement of diplomacy. And then it was the US who withdrew from that deal and reimposed their sanctions and restarted their threats. Again, we were negotiating with the same administration, then all of a sudden they decided to attack us, first by Israelis, then by themselves. And now they are threatening us for more attacks. So it's not up to Iran, but it's up to international community to condemn this, to prevent this. Otherwise, there will be nothing left for the international law, for the security at the world level. The Security Council should play its role, should play its responsibility to condemn and prevent these kind of threats. We will certainly defend our interests. We will certainly defend our territorial integrity, our sovereignty, and our people. And I'm so glad that our people are now fully understand what injustice they are doing against the Iranian people. They are united and in solidarity with the government, and we stand firm against any aggression.
Next, CNN Türk.
Mr. Minister, how do you assess the West's stance on Israel massacres? No one seems to mention Israel's allegedly illegal nuclear weapons. The German Chancellor even said Israel is doing the dirty work for us. So what is your response? Thank you.
Well, what should I say? You said everything. That Iran is under attack by a nuclear-armed superpower and a nuclear-armed regime. And Iran, as you know, is a non-nuclear armed country. That should be certainly condemned. If not, the whole non-proliferation regime would be undermined and would be defeated. Iran is a committed member of NPT. But NPT is not able to protect us. So why a country like Iran or other countries who are interested to have a peaceful nuclear energy should rely on NPT for their peaceful activities? It is very unfortunate that Israel is doing, as the German Chancellor called, dirty job. And by the way, they supported that.
We're about to find out whose media. I mean, this is Associated Press, so it's still okay. All right, let's jump to this one. We've listened to Iran. I think we know. Yeah, they feel like they're a victim of the big bully America. Let's see how the audio is going to be shit on this one. Yeah, of course it is. Let's see. Let's see if they ever fix the audio. Nope.
Did not target
Holy shit.
Iranian troops or the
What is going on, boys? What the fuck is going on here?
people.
Thanks to President Trump's.
Okay, well, at least it's only in. It's going to be.
It's worth noting the operation did not target Iranian troops or the Iranian people.
For the entirety of his
Thank
time
God.
in office, President Trump.
At this point, I'm happy it's only in one ear. I don't understand. It's always just in one ear. It's left ear, guys, in case you're wondering. Just left ear only.
Trump has consistently stated for over 10 years that Iran must not get a nuclear weapon. Full stop. Thanks to President Trump's bold and visionary leadership and his commitment to peace through strength, Iran's nuclear ambitions have been obliterated. Many presidents have dreamed of delivering the final blow to Iran's nuclear.
It doesn't sound like it to me, man. You're going to need to give us evidence of that. Because it sounds like they could be up and running in no fucking time with their program again.
Nuclear program. And none could until President Trump. The operation President Trump planned was bold and it was brilliant, showing the world that American deterrence is back. When this president speaks, the world should listen. And the U.S. military, we can back it up. The most powerful military the world has ever known. No other country on planet Earth could have conducted the operation that the chairman is going to outline this morning. Not even close. Just like Soleimani found out in the first term, Iran found out when POTUS says 60 days that he seeks peace and negotiation, he means 60 days of peace and negotiation. Otherwise, that.
In those 60 days, did Iran bomb anybody? No, it seems like Israel was the first one to start bombing. But, of course, that'll be disputed. Well, Iran was funding terrorists, and they were funding Hamas, and they were funding this and that. You're acting like Iran was sitting there doing the bombing, and you were like, stop bombing. Iran didn't escalate this.
Nuclear program, that nuclear capability will not exist. He meant it. This is not the previous administration. The President Trump said no nukes. He seeks peace, and Iran should take that path. He sent out a truth last night saying this.
Have they even outlined what that path would look like? What do you want Iran to do? Because it seemed to me you wanted unconditional surrender, which is a little fucking ridiculous. Is that the negotiating tactic you were taking? Oh, you just that's what we want. We want you to unconditionally surrender. It's like, of course they're not going to fucking do that.
Any retaliation by Iran against the United States of America will be met with force far greater.
Sam, what do you not understand about what we did to Iran in the 50s? That we continue to do the same thing over and over, and then we wonder why they do what they do. Again, let's try leaving them the fuck alone and no new wars. Let's try that for 40 years, and then let's see if we still have a terrorist problem. Okay? Let's see.
Than what was witnessed tonight. Signed, the President of the United States, Donald J. Trump. Iran would be smart to heed those words. He's said it before, and he means it. I want to give recognition to the Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, the Joint Staff, General Eric Kurilla at CENTCOM, who did a phenomenal job, he and his staff, all of CENTCOM. Policy across the board, this was a joint effort, and across the Pentagon effort. I want to recognize the pilots who flew those bombers, who flew those fighters, who flew those refuelers, warriors. I want to recognize the sailors on those destroyers, in those subs, on those carriers.
Okay, let's move on past the typical bullshit.
A strike that included the longest B-2 Spirit bomber mission since 2001 and the first operational employment of the MOP, a massive ordnance penetrator.
Sorry, Sam. You know, I read comments. Sometimes I get the context of the comment wrong. So my apology if I got what you were saying wrong, because I'm just quickly reading it, and you know.
The mission demonstrated to the world the level of joint and allied integration that speak to the strength of our alliance and our joint forces. As President Trump has stated, the United States does not seek war, but let me be clear.
Doesn't seem like it.
Swiftly and decisively when our people, our partners, or our interests are threatened. Iran should listen to the President of the United States and know that he means it, every word. I want to give congratulations to our Commander-in-Chief. It was an honor to watch him.
Yeah, Iran should just give up their sovereignty and just listen to us and let us control their country. Yeah, just let us take over your oil. Let us control all your trade routes. Yeah, listen to us. We want peace. Do that or we will bomb you again because we want peace.
Lead
makes sense.
Last night and throughout, and to our great American warriors on this successful operation. God bless our troops. God bless America. And we give glory to God for his providence and continue to ask for his protection. I turn it over now to the chairman for specifics.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. Thanks for recognizing all of our folks out there doing our nation's work, and nice to see everybody on this early Sunday morning. Last night on the President's orders, U.S. Central Command, under the command of General Eric Kurilla, executed Operation Midnight Hammer, a deliberate and precise strike against 3 Iranian nuclear facilities. This was a complex and high-risk mission carried out with exceptional skill and discipline by our joint force. I want to thank every service member, planner, operator that made this mission possible. Their actions reflect the highest standards of the United States Armed Forces. This operation was designed to severely degrade Iran's nuclear weapons infrastructure. It was planned and executed across multiple domains and theaters with coordination that reflects our ability to project power globally with speed and precision at the time and place of our nation's choosing. This was a highly classified mission with very few people in Washington knowing the timing or nature of this plan. I'll refer you to the graphic on the side as I walk you through some of the operational details. At midnight Friday into Saturday morning, a large B-2 strike package comprised of bombers launched from the continental United States. As part of a plan to maintain tactical surprise, part of the package proceeded to the west and into the Pacific as a decoy, a deception effort known only to an extremely small number of planners and key leaders here in Washington and in Tampa. The main strike package, comprised of 7 B-2 Spirit bombers, each with 2 crew members, proceeded quietly to the east with minimal communications. Throughout the 18-hour flight into the target area, the aircraft completed multiple in-flight refuelings. Once over land, the B-2s linked up with escort and support aircraft in a complex, tightly timed maneuver requiring exact synchronization across multiple platforms in a narrow piece of airspace, all done with minimal communications. This type of integration is exactly what our joint force does better than anyone else in the world. At approximately 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time last night, and just prior...
A lot of people that love this war porn. Like, I was seeing all these videos of, like, people that were describing how the attacks went down, and, oh, it's so cool, these fucking B-28 bombers and their stealth, and they're climbing over top, and they're refueling. Okay, Joe, calm down, Joe.
Green Juice Incorporated super chatted $10. I love Rubio's interview. He cuts an old-school WWE promo on the Iran Sheikh. Don't get cute.
Is that Rubio? Okay, I'll look for it, Green Juice. Thank you for the $10. Good to see you, man. It's been a while, Green Juice. I was wondering where you went. Is that recent, Green Juice? I'll look for it.
Prior to the strike package entering Iran, a U.S. submarine in the Central Command area of responsibility launched more than 24 Tomahawk land attack cruise missiles against key surface infrastructure targets at Esfahan. As the Operation Midnight Hammer strike package entered Iranian airspace, the U.S. employed several deception tactics, including decoys, as the fourth and fifth generation aircraft pushed out in front of the strike package at high altitude and high speed, sweeping in front of the package just prior to the strike enemy fighters entering Iran and surface-to-air missile threats. The strike package was supported by U.S. Strategic Command, U.S. Transportation Command, U.S. Cyber Command, U.S. Space Command, U.S. Space Force, and U.S. European Command. As the strike package approached Fordow and Natanz, the U.S. protection package employed high-speed suppression weapons.
You're talking about his interview on Face the Nation on Fox News? Is it the one on Face the Nation or the one on Fox News? I'll find it. It's got to be the one from 11 hours ago, right? Yeah, we'll play that next.
To ensure safe passage of the strike package.
I'm losing patience for this because I'm not hearing anything. It's like, come on.
With fighter assets employing preemptive suppressing fires against any potential Iranian.
We get it. Our military rules. We're the greatest military.
We are currently
I get it.
unaware of any shots fired at the U.S. strike package on the way in. At approximately 6:40 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Good morning. Today, breaking news.
Iran time. The lead B-2 dropped 2 GBU-57 massive ordnance penetrator weapons on the first of several aim points at Fordow. As the president stated last night, the remaining bombers then hit their targets as well, with a total of 14 MOPs dropped against 2 nuclear target areas. All 3 Iranian nuclear infrastructure targets were struck between 6:40 p.m. and 7:05 p.m. Eastern Time. Again, that's about 2:10 in the morning local time in Iran, with the Tomahawk missiles being the last to strike at Esfahan to ensure we retain the element of surprise throughout the operation. Following weapons release, the Midnight Hammer strike package exited Iranian airspace and the package began its return home. We are unaware of any shots fired at the package on the way out. Iran's fighters did not fly, and it appears that Iran's...
Get to the questions.
The president authorized a precision operation to neutralize the
boring
threats
ass
to our
fucking
national
talkers ever
interests posed by the Iranian nuclear program and the collective self-defense of our troops and our ally Israel.
Thanks for your question. I think BDA is still pending, and it would be way too early for me to comment on what may or may not still be there. But thanks for the question.
Green. No, behind you.
Excuse me, Mr. Secretary, can you tell me, was there a particular moment when the president decided to pull the trigger on this operation where he said, now, rather than being, something in the holster, now we're going to pull the trigger on it?
I would just say, having the opportunity to witness his leadership, he was fully committed to the peace process, wanted a negotiated outcome, gave Iran every single opportunity, and unfortunately was met by stonewalling, which is why he gave them plenty of time to continue to come to the table and give up enrichment, give up the nuclear program. But there was I won't say the particular moment, there was certainly a moment in time where he realized that it had to be a certain action taken in order to minimize the threat to us and our troops. Yeah.
General, you say that General Kurilla increased force protection in Iraq, Syria, and Gulf, in those areas. Were they given any advance warning the attacks were coming? And also, Mr. Secretary, when were congressional leaders notified? How long before the attacks took place?
Is it just me, or is Hegseth like kind of cringe as fuck?
Sir, to your first question, you know, the risk has clearly been rising over the last few weeks in the region. Based on that, and not a particular awareness of this operation, we've made smart decisions to
No, you haven't.
minimize the risk to U.S. forces in the region.
No, if you wanted to minimize risk, you would stop bombing other countries and creating war. The decision you just made put our troops into more danger than they were before you made this decision. Sorry, we'll let it go.
No, sir.
I'll shut up.
Congressional.
They were notified after the planes were safely out. Well, we complied with the notification requirements of the War Powers Act.
Attacks, they were notified.
They were immediately thereafter. Yes.
Thank you, Secretary. Two quick questions. Do you believe you completely destroyed Iranian nuclear program? And how about Iranian ballistic missiles?
So he's asking if they completely destroyed the sites they hit. So this is a good question, because they're going to say they did. But Iran, Russia, again, there is evidence. The fact that there's no fallout means, okay, even if they did destroy it and they got all the way down, there was probably no uranium in there. I got to find, there's a video that talked about what would happen if they hit it, and like the amount of fallout, it would go like, it would be crazy. It'd be a crazy amount of fallout, and there's none. So that makes me wonder, it makes a lot of people wonder, was there even any fucking uranium in there? Or did they already move it? They probably already moved it.
Our ally as Israel always saying that is biggest threat. And second question is very important. What will be your next step if Iran or militias under Iranian influence on the region attack U.S. interests or allies in the region?
And you can chime in on this too, Mr. Chairman. The battle damage assessment is ongoing, but our initial assessment, as the chairman said, is that all of our precision munitions struck where we wanted them to.
It sounds like they're walking it back now. Because Trump said they were completely destroyed, their nuclear program's over. Why doesn't it? Sounds like they're maybe they finally got some information. Oh, it didn't go as well as we thought.
The strike and had the desired effect, which means especially in Fordo, which was the primary target here, we believe we achieved destruction of capabilities there.
We believe, okay.
Ultimately, wherever it may be, whether it's in Iraq or Syria or bases in the Gulf, as the president said, it would be, as the chairman said, it would be a very bad idea for Iran or its proxies to attempt to attack American forces. Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. Regarding retaliations, Iran and North Korea are cooperating on nuclear and missile development. Do you think there is a possibility that Iran, North Korea, and the other forces, such as China, will join forces to retaliate against the United States?
They're going to probably do the same thing we did with Ukraine. They're going to give Iran all the fucking support that we, as Americans, gave Ukraine, which means weapons, ammunition, money, and according to Russia, nuclear warheads.
Well, unfortunately, because of the policies under the previous administration, we drove those countries together, and ultimately that creates a challenging environment.
Well, this is also driving them together.
For this particular operation, the focus is on Iran and Iranian nuclear capabilities. That's our focus here, is to not just say that they can't have, but President Trump has said from over 20 years, frankly, Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. And ultimately, he decided this is the moment, given their stonewalling, when direct military action had to be taken to prevent that from happening. Yes.
Thank you very much. General Kane, I understand OPSEC, I respect OPSEC. Can you say at all what security procedures are being taken to protect U.S. troops in Iraq and elsewhere in the Middle East? And Secretary Hegseth, as a global war on terrorism veteran, what do you say to veterans who may be concerned the U.S. is getting into another open-ended war in the Middle East over weapons of mass destruction?
Thanks, sir, for the question. I won't comment on what force protection measures are being taken in the region. What I will say is we're being proactive and not reactive, and being very thoughtful about ensuring that we do all that we can to protect our forces out there.
What about the second part of the question about the forever wars and the fucking... What about that part of the fucking question, dude? Regime change is coming, boys.
And I would just say, as the...
Not in America, in Iran.
President has directed and made clear, this is most certainly not open-ended. It doesn't...
No. We're just going to go in there and change the regime. It is okay.
I mean, it limits our ability to respond.
So basically, if Iran doesn't completely surrender at this moment and do everything Trump demands of them, it's going to lead to regime change.
We will respond if necessary. The most powerful military in the world is postured and prepared to defend our people. But what the president gave us, as I said, was a focused, powerful, and clear mission on the destruction of Iranian nuclear capabilities. Those were the targets. That's what was struck. That's what was overwhelming. That's what was overwhelming. That's what the Iranian regime needs to understand, as the president put out last night. He wants peace. There needs to be a negotiated settlement here. We ultimately...
I just picture the meme of the black guy punching the other guy in the face. I want peace now, motherfucker. This is peaceful. So yeah, okay. I got to pull that meme up again.
Demonstrated that Iran cannot have a nuclear capability. That is a very clear mission set on this operation. Yes, hold on. Yes, right there.
I just can't stop thinking of this meme every time they say, we want peace.
Question for the Secretary and the Chairman. How was this strike coordinated with the Israelis on a strategic level, militarily, and on a tactical level? Was there any direct Israeli military participation in this operation?
Well, I would say certainly Israel had an incredible military success, especially at the beginning and ongoing, in degrading Iranian capabilities, in degrading Iranian launchers, MRBMs. It's been incredible to watch what our ally Israel has been able to do. And there certainly have been conversations. I mean, General Kurilla at CENTCOM has worked closely in the defense of Israel for many years. And part of this operation was the defense of Israel and the ongoing defense of Israel. But as it pertains to this strike, this was...
So isn't Israel capable of defending themselves? Seems to me Israel is a pretty powerful country with a lot of wealth, a lot of ability to fucking wage their own war. Why do we have to go? Why can't they handle it? Why can't they handle their shit? Israel's pretty fucking powerful. Why do we got to be their little babysitter and be like, oh,
It was U.S. operated and U.S. led.
We took advantage of some of the preparatory work that's been done over the past week and a half in terms of axis of approach. I won't get into the particulars, but as the Secretary said, it was a U.S. strike. We made sure we...
Well, yeah, Matt, they're not capable of doing regime change on their own. They need USA to do that. There are things they're not capable of. But they have their own military, dude. They have a pretty powerful, high technology military. It's like... My point is, let them do their shit. Is it our fault if they overextend and they get in trouble? Well, maybe they should stop creating wars and planning things that like need America's help to do. I don't know. Maybe I'm not saying this right.
We were not in the same...
But Israel should be able to handle its own business.
Piece of airspace and sky.
That's my main point.
That was the extent of it.
We'll take a couple more. Yeah, right there.
Question to the Secretary first. Are you concerned whatsoever now about the reaction from U.S. allies given the strike, particularly those in the Gulf? And to the Chairman, if I may, I understand you don't want to speak to specific assets and force protection measures, but do you anticipate at least having to bring in any further assets from other theaters to aid in force protection over the coming days?
We certainly understand the challenges of allies in the region And we have been respectful and working in collaboration with them as it pertains to basing and sensitivities there. Ultimately, they've got a lot of assets and people in those locations also where American troops are co-located. So that's a consideration of ours. We've been in close consultation with them, and we appreciate the support that we have got.
Thanks for the question on sort of the global picture. And as you know, that's one of my jobs, is to look globally at the entire range of challenges. We are always carefully considering our force.
I can't stand listening to this fucking guy. Is this the one you wanted, Green Juice? Let's see.
An historic day for the United States, Israel, and the world.
Can't
the
listen to that
U.S.
fuckhead
bombs
anymore.
Iran. The commander-in-chief,
I'll be honest. I was less triggered by the Iranian fucking foreign minister than I am by that fucking military guy in Hegseth.
President Donald Trump authorizing the U.S. military to strike 3 of Iran's most lethal nuclear sites last night. We know of no human casualties, but Iran's nuclear infrastructure appears to be badly damaged in the biggest B-2 stealth bomber action we have ever seen.
What kind of music is that? Like, oh, such pretty happy music as we talk about how we bombed another country. It's fucking happy-go-lucky corporate fucking music.
Including obliterating Iran's most significant uranium-enriched Fordo site built underground in the mountains in Iran. Here's President Trump last night.
Tonight I can report to the world that the strikes enrichment has been...
This action is the Secretary of State of America, Secretary Marco Rubio. Mr. Secretary, thank you for being here. Are we now at war with Iran?
No, we're not. This is not a war against Iran. This is very simple. 60.
This is more of that shit. Like, oh, we bombed them, but we're not at war. We're at war. We're at fucking war. You don't just bomb another country and go, I'm not at war. No, that was an act of war. And the other country is going to consider it an act of war. And whether you like it or not, you are now at fucking war. In fucking war.
7 days ago, the President of the United States sent the Iranians a letter, and it said, you're not going to have nuclear weapons. You're not going to have a militarized nuclear program. Let's negotiate. I want to do this diplomatically. I want to do this peacefully. They tried to play him along the way they've played every American president for the last 35 years. And, the president told them, if we don't get a deal, which is what he wanted, then I'll have to handle it differently. And that's what he did last night. He handled it differently. But that was an Iranian choice. We didn't make that choice. They did. By playing games with Donald Trump, they made a huge mistake. And President Trump acted last night. And I think the world today is safer and more stable than it was 24 hours ago. And a bunch of these...
That's a fucking lie. That's a total lie.
These countries putting out statements condemning us privately, they all agree with us that this needed to be done.
Oh, okay. Yeah. We'll take your word on that, Rubio. I trust Rubio probably as much as I would trust like Charles Manson. I do not trust Rubio at all.
And they got to do what they got to do for their own public relations purposes. But the only people in the world that are unhappy about what happened in Iran last night is the regime in Iran.
Have you heard?
What about over 70% of the MAGA base, Rubio, who you don't fucking like? Rubio was a never Trumper. Remember when Alex Jones showed up and tried to talk to Rubio about the banning of Trump supporters and how, like what they did, and he pretended like he didn't know who Alex Jones was? These people couldn't even stand up for their own voters when their own voters were getting censored off the fucking internet for merely standing up for Trump and the MAGA movement. They couldn't even stand up for us then. And now they're just dragging us into war. I'm disavowing all of this. I'm disavowing everybody. Everything's disavowed.
Heard from anyone in Iran, and are you expecting retaliation?
Well, if they retaliate, it'll be the worst mistake they've ever made. Look, we can fly in and out of Iran at will. We went in last night.
Yeah, but they already retaliated and bombed Israel last night. So they keep saying, well, if they retaliated last night. So are you just talking a big game? Or is it already in the works, the next fucking our retaliation?
Night, the president sent our military forces from halfway across the world, went in, conducted this operation, left. Not a shot was fired against us. They didn't even know what had happened. By the time we left, the planes were out of their airspace before they finally started realizing they had been hit. So it would be a terrible mistake if Iran retaliates. So, but that's not our goal. We are not declaring war on Iran. We're not looking for war on Iran. But if they attack us, then I think we have capabilities they haven't even seen yet. It would be a terrible mistake on their part. And frankly, it's not what we hope for or wish. What we want now is to ensure that Iran never has nuclear weapons. If what they want is a civil nuclear program where they have power plants like a lot of other countries in the world have, they can do that. That's the deal that's been offered to them. They rejected it. They played us. They tried to play us, I should say. They wouldn't respond to our...
Andrew Wilson super chatted $5. They're saying it wasn't an act of war. Because if Iran does retaliate against us, it'll justify a full-on attack. They'll say Iran started a war.
Yeah, Andrew, that's what I see happening. You know, Iran's going to retaliate. Of course they are. They're going to lock down that strait of Bermuth or whatever. And then that's going to force us to retaliate because that's going to cause the cost of oil to go up, and that's going to ruin Trump's economy and his whole goal of fighting inflation and getting prices down. I just don't see any way this doesn't keep escalating until regime change. Hopefully I'm wrong.
Offers.
Thank you for the 5, Andrew.
Disappeared for 10 days. And now, you know, the president had to take action as a response.
And the response included strategic ambiguity. Can you walk us through the plan in terms of how it was deceptive, not allowing the Iranians to understand what was really taking place?
Well, ultimately, when we do these things, it's because we care about the safety and security of our troops, of our airmen, and all those who are supporting these missions. So, you know, obviously, the element of surprise is important in military.
You don't think they can shut down the Strait, Flipper 138? I'll look it up, but from my understanding, they can shut it down. We can fucking obviously go in there and destroy their Navy blockade or whatever the fuck. But without us going in there and fucking waging more war with our Navy against Iran, yes, they could shut it down.
Tactics.
Why couldn't they?
In this particular, now, I don't think the Iranians or anyone should have been under any mystery.
So then we're going to war, Flipper 138. So we're going to start a Navy conflict. We're going to start blowing their ships up in the water. So, okay, we're going to full-blown war to stop that from happening. So I'm right. It will keep escalating, even in your scenario, Flipper.
The president said very clearly, we have 60 days to make progress on a deal, and if we don't, I'm going to deal with it differently. But in terms of what people call deception...
Matt, you said Iran is stupid if they think nuclear bombs will make them stronger. Can we really prove that they're actually were trying to build a nuclear bomb? Because even that I have doubts. But of course, it's hard to know because I hear things all over the place. Like some people think they already had a nuclear bomb. Some people think they were just honestly enriching uranium for their nuclear power program. And then other people think, yes, they were secretly building a bomb. I don't know which one it is, man. I can't believe anybody. I can't believe any side of this. Actually, probably Alex Jones is the most believable, which is they already have a nuclear bomb. They're just not telling anybody. If I was a bet, that's what I would put my money on. I would put my money on, yes, they do have a nuclear bomb, and they're just not telling anybody. But at the end of the day, we don't know.
Deception and surprise and things of this nature. The core of that is not the success. The mission was going to be successful no matter what. The core of that was protecting our servicemen and women who are in harm's way and conducting that mission. That's the most important part. And they went in, they did what they needed to do with precision and skill that no other military in the world can do. And they left. And they were well outside of Iranian airspace before the regime even realized what had happened. And that was the goal here, and that was achieved. You know, these planes came from halfway across the world, and no one saw them coming. And that's a huge credit to Pete Hegseth and General Kane and General Kurilla and obviously our commander-in-chief for pulling that off.
Well,
they already said they're closing it up, Flipper. So maybe you're right, and they won't successfully close it up. I think they will.
The president...
Unless we attack them. And, you know, open it up by force.
The president said in a post recently that he knows where the supreme leader is hiding, but that he was not ready to take him out yet. What can you tell us about your expectations with regard to regime change in Iran?
Well, that's certainly not the goal of what we're working on here. The goal is stated very clearly in a letter the president sent the supreme leader about 65, 67 days ago. And in a letter, he said, you're not going to have a nuclear weapon. Let's negotiate peacefully a solution. We can make a really good deal that's good for Iran, good for America, good for the world. If you don't, however, then I'm going to have to deal with this differently. The Iranians didn't like the letter. They didn't respond to it. They ultimately entered into fake negotiations and tried to play him along. In essence, they thought they could do with President Trump what they've done with presidents in the past and get away with it. And they found out last night that they can't. And the world found out last night that you can't. And that's important, not just on this issue, but for so many other issues happening around the world. I think that what we are seeing is that this...
I need a snake sound effect so I can play that, like, every time he talks. What's up, MKO?
Mako super chatted $4.99. Recommendation: Ryan Dawson's documentary Israel Stole the Bomb and Killed JFK.
All right, I'll add it to my watch list. Thank you for the $5, MMK. I hope you're doing good.
This is a president that tells you what he's going to do, and then he does it. And I think that to a lot of people, including the Iranian regime, is shocking.
What are your expectations in terms of Iran's nuclear capabilities today?
Well, they're certainly degraded. Look, at the end of the day, if Iran is committed...
I thought we knocked out their... I thought that was it. We just saved World War III and knocked out their entire nuclear program. Oh, no, now it's just degraded?
...to...
It's very much seeming like a mission accomplished George Bush type moment going on here.
Becoming a nuclear weapons power, I do think it puts the regime at risk. I really do. I think it would be the end of the regime if they tried to do that. It's certainly been set back from a technical standpoint, not just due to what we did last night, but obviously the Israelis have done incredible work in advance as well. But ultimately, they have to make a decision. It's a very simple decision. If what they want is nuclear reactors so they can have electricity, there are so many other countries in the world that do that, and they don't have to enrich their own uranium. They can do that. But if what they want is a secret program buried in the mountain where no one can see it and inspectors can only come when they say they can come, if that's what they want, then they're going to have big problems, because this is a dangerous, violent, radical regime. Not the Iranian people. We have no problem. We didn't hit Iranian people last night. We hit nuclear facilities. And if what they want is some secret program that looks nothing like the civil nuclear programs around the world, it looks a lot like you're trying to build a bomb, they're going to continue to have problems, not just with us, but with many other countries in the world.
Problems like what? What do you mean?
Like the problems they're facing right now. Listen, why do we...
Iran is bad faith. I get it. But that could also... Calm down, Joe. Jesus Christ.
Zatoy Keys Cane Sword. Super chatted $20. I pray to Chrome.
Okay. Hey, I don't shame people. They can pray to whoever they want. Thank you, Zato. Now, what was I saying? I totally forgot. Oh, both things can be true. Iran could be a bad faith actor, and bombing Iran was not the right move. Both things can be true, guys.
We have bases in Saudi Arabia and Kuwait and Qatar and UAE. All of those bases are there to help protect those countries from Iran. Why did Hezbollah exist? Because of Iran. What does Hamas exist? Because of Iran. How do the Houthis exist? Because of Iran. Who built the IEDs that maimed and killed American soldiers in Iraq? Iran. They're behind every problem in this region. They are the sole source of instability in the entire Middle East, and the world's been paying a price for this for 40-something years. Imagine those people having a nuclear weapon, just one nuclear weapon, or even the capability to being on the threshold of having a nuclear weapon. That's what the world was facing. That is unacceptable. President Trump did the world a favor last night, and now Iran should sort of wake up, the Iranian regime should wake up and say, okay, if we really want nuclear energy in our country, there's a way to do it. That offer's still there. We're prepared to talk to them tomorrow and start working on that. Steve Witkoff has traveled extensively around the world trying to reach that deal with them, but they play too many games. They play way too many.
And we don't play games. We don't play any games. Like, I don't know, overthrowing their democratically elected leader in 1953 so that we could take their oil and give it to fucking Great Britain and start BP. Like, oh no, we don't play any fucking games.
And now they found out.
The president has said many times no nuclear weapons, but the ultimate goal also happens to be no biological weapons, chemicals, no drones, no proxy warfare. Do you believe that the Iranians will follow that and you'll achieve the ultimate goal of success here, long term?
Well, I don't know what they're going to decide to do next. If they're being rational, I think they realize, if what they want is a country that has a nuclear energy program, they can have that. I mean, many countries around.
I don't really fucking believe him, to be honest.
On the world. I don't like the regime, but we're not into the regime change business here. We're into the safety and security of the United States business. So that's a choice they'll have to make. I hope they're being.
Green Juice, I don't care if they want to have a nuke. You weren't here earlier, Green Juice. You probably wouldn't have liked what I said. Because what I said was, if every country in the Middle East had a nuke, we'd probably have peace in the Middle fucking East at this point.
Rational in their decision making. But I think the most important thing I hope.
But I'm supposed to buy into the idea that they're all just a bunch of psychopaths, and the second they get a nuke, that's it. They're going to start nuking. No, the second they get a nuke, they'll feel a lot safer. Things will fucking calm down.
They realize is the game is up. Okay, they have played the world for 40-something years with these nuclear talks and this, delaying things. They got a crazy deal out of John Kerry when he was Secretary of State under the Obama administration, where they got billions of dollars, and by the way, agreed to something that allowed them to continue to build their missile capacity and sponsor terrorism. They've been playing the world for 40-something years. They're not going to play President Trump, and they found out last night that when he says he's going to do something, he'll do it, and he doesn't want to do it. It's not his first choice. But it's the only choice. That's the only choice the Iranian regime left us, because they play too many games. They use diplomacy to hide behind and obfuscate and think they can buy themselves time. They think they're cute. They're not cute. And they're not going to get away with this stuff. Not under President Trump.
The Europeans have been feckless pretty much throughout this conflict in the last several weeks. What are your expectations for our partners and allies in Europe?
Well, look, I think the Europeans, particularly the Germans, the French, and the Brits, have made very clear that Iran cannot have nuclear weapons. In fact, I think the French, for the first time, have kind of leaned forward even more and said they can't even have an enrichment capability. There are existing sanctions under the old JCPOA that we're no longer a part of, but they remain a part of. Iran is in complete violation. Okay, and so those three countries have to make a decision, I know later than October of this year, whether to put sanctions back on Iran.
Sorry, guys, I had to unmute it. Somebody said, "I do not think things will calm down when they get a nuke." Doge Hodler. It's what's happened every single time countries get nukes. It's called mutually assured destruction. It's the reason why two nuclear armed countries do not fight each other. They have proxy wars. They use other smaller countries that aren't nuclear armed to do their shit. And once everybody has a nuke, nobody's going to have ability to fuck around with each other without committing seppuku. I know it's hard to believe, but in practice, this is how it works every single time. Nothing has brought about more peace in this world than nuclear weapons, mutually assured destruction.
Iran, snap them back.
And once we all have nukes, we can say, yeah, let's calm it down or whatever. But the moment that somebody doesn't have a nuke, all of a sudden they get invaded. It's very weird how that works. Very weird how only the countries that don't have nuclear weapons are at risk of being invaded. I wonder why.
Encourage them to continue to press them on that front, because that's another set of pressure. So, obviously, these are allies and partners we work with closely on a bunch of issues around the world, and I think they have in their hands a very powerful piece of leverage on the Iranian regime, which is the snapback provisions under the previous JCPOA. And I think so far they've been very tough and strong on that, and we encourage them to continue to do so and to continue to tell the Iranians, the Iranian regime. I keep saying Iranian regime because it's not the people we have a quarrel with. The Iranian regime, they've consistently messaged them, and we're grateful for it, that the solution to this problem is negotiate directly with the Americans. That's another thing. They don't even talk to us directly. We always have to have.
Yeah, MMAKO. I've tried to point that out multiple times, that's kind of where all of this starts. Is with us playing regime change in Iran, because they wanted to nationalize their oil. But it's always their fault. They're the ones that started it. They hate us for no reason. They hate us because they're crazy. No, it's because we're kicking the hornet's nest. They're behaving the same way we would behave if another country came and got involved in our business. You got to put yourself in the other person's shoes. Otherwise, you're just going to be living in this weird reality where you just don't understand why the other side are just so evil. Like they have no reason to be pissed off and angry. And yes, I do believe 100%. If you gave every country in the Middle East a nuke, we would have peace overnight.
Have a middleman. They want to pass messages and notes like we're in third grade. We're not doing that anymore. Direct negotiations. Let's talk about how we peacefully resolve this problem. The Europeans have pressured them on that point, and we encourage them to continue to do so and are grateful that they've been doing that so far.
What about our allies in the Middle East right now? Interesting to note that we have not heard from any of the proxies of Iran. No comment from the Iranians so far. No comment from Hezbollah or the Houthis. What are your reactions there, as well as our allies in the Middle East? President Trump, of course, using his first trip internationally to go and strengthen relations with our friends in the Middle East.
Well, we made clear that any of these proxies attack America, we're not only going to deal with the proxies, but we're also going to pin it on Iran. We know who's behind these. That's another thing they do. They create these little groups like the Shia militias in Iraq and Syria, and then they hide behind them and pretend it's not them. We know.
I get it, guys. You think that they can't be trusted with a nuclear weapon. Okay, fine. Then why can we be trusted? Why can every other country that has a nuclear weapon be trusted? So we're allowed to have nukes, but nobody else is, right? And we think that's going to be acceptable to other countries. We think they're going to accept us having an advantage on them, and they're not going to try to fix that, especially when the advantage means they can't invade us and we can invade them. Guys, I understand nukes are scary, but they've also brought about more peace than anything else. And I cannot deny, I do believe if you gave all these countries, if every country had a nuke, we would have peace. We'd have peace all across the world. That'd be it for wars. Maybe you could go to some maybe you can go to like the North Sentinel Island and invade them because they're not going to have nukes. But other than that, that's it. Now, okay, is there a possibility that some suicidal they're gonna commit suicide and just to destroy Israel? No, it's big talk. It's big talk, but they're not going to do that.
No, it's them, including the Houthis, by the way. So Iran will be held responsible for the actions of these groups.
You gotta stop buying into the fucking boogeyman shit. It's boogeyman shit. When you say another country, another people are just like, if they get a nuke, they're gonna destroy everybody. Oh yeah, they chant death to Israel. Dude, people in America say fucking terrible shit as well. People in America chant death to Israel. People in America chant death to America. So now what? Because some people said some shit and there's some radical people in the country. We're supposed to pretend like the whole country is just a bunch of homicidal fucking murderers that just want to commit suicide and take the whole world down with it? Sorry, that's not realistic.
In terms of the other countries in the region, look, I think that we've worked very cooperatively with them. The president just had a great visit to Saudi Arabia, to the UAE, and to Qatar. Very productive.
Bro, there's people, Dodge, Hodler, there's people in America that have this crazy beliefs too, bro. All right, so Dodge, I guess we just go in and we do a regime change. That's what we do. We just keep bombing them and pissing them off more, making them more radical, and then we go in and do regime change. So in 20 years, we can leave and they can have an even more radical government take over after we leave, who are even more pissed off at us and more willing to blow up the whole fucking world. That's what we should do, Dodge. That's the answer.
But I just ask and remind everybody, the only reason we have U.S. bases in the region, the only reason we have an air base in Qatar, an air base in UAE, an air base in Saudi Arabia, is because they are afraid that Iran will attack them, and they want us there to help defend them. And so, if Iran wasn't a threat, we wouldn't need those bases there. So these countries fully recognize the threat that Iran poses. That's why they want us there to help defend their oil fields and their infrastructure, or help them defend them.
Matt, they confirmed the conviction that they are a threat. So you're saying they're a threat. Okay, do you think that they feel like we're a threat? Do you think maybe the fact that we made them feel like we're threatening them, do you think that played any role in this? And maybe if they kind of maybe we just left them alone and said, look, we're sorry about getting involved in your business. We're going to leave you alone. And then in 20, 40 years, we actually leave people alone and just focus on our country and promote freedom around the world without conquering everybody and fucking playing policeman and shit in the world. You don't think things will calm down? I think they would. There are some things we're going to have to agree to disagree on. I think some of you are falling for the boogeyman bullshit. Don't fall for the boogeyman bullshit. Don't fall for that bullshit.
Themselves. And if the Iranian regime was no longer a threat, we wouldn't need to have any of these bases in the region. We wouldn't need to have any American service people in the region. But that's the state of affairs right now. So these countries understand what Iran is and what the regime is, and they get it. They understand it.
How long have these plans been in place to take out the nuclear facilities?
Well, the president makes the ultimate decision, and look, he in terms of plans, I mean, we have all sorts of contingency plans for all sorts of possible strikes all over the world. Once the president says, okay, work up options for me, they obviously go back and, refine those. And then there are multiple points along the way in which the president has decisions to make about go or no go. And it really comes right up to 10 minutes before the bombs are actually dropped. So the president retains, as commander-in-chief, full control of these operations. But we have incredibly capable military people in our country. The operation yesterday was extraordinary, really extraordinary.
I mean, look, God bless you guys, but some of you guys are literally repeating the same sort of boogeyman bullshit propaganda from 2003. Just change who it is. Instead of Iraq this time, instead of Saddam Hussein, it's Iran. Instead of Afghanistan and global terrorism, it's Iran. It's just, you guys are literally repeating the same playbook bullshit. And I get it. If you believe it, great. You're welcome to believe it. But in my opinion, from my fucking experience in life, you're falling for propaganda that's just meant to get you to agree to go to war so the military-industrial complex can make a ton of fucking money and the American taxpayer can foot the bill and get ripped off again and again and again. But I could be wrong.
Extraordinary. Obviously,
Although
there are
I don't
elements
think I
of
am.
it that will not ever be publicly shared. But suffice it to say that there is no country in the world that can do what the United States did last night through our incredible military led by our commander-in-chief. And I think a lot of credit goes out to Pete Hegseth, our defense secretary, did a phenomenal job of managing this process. And obviously all the way down to the airmen and others who conducted.
I think, like Trump said before, the only reason they want to attack Iran is because they're terrible at negotiations. So the fact that you attacked Iran, Trump, means you absolutely failed at negotiations. And to even believe what Rubio's saying, that Iran wasn't negotiating, Iran was lying, how can I believe you? I can't believe anything that comes out of y'all's fucking mouth anymore. You're being run by neocons, and I've been lied to by neocons ever since I can fucking remember. And now Trump is basically acting like a neocon, so now I cannot trust anything, especially when he goes against his America First, No New Wars policy. I now have to treat Trump like a neocon, and I cannot believe anything that comes out of his mouth. Unfortunately. I'd like to go back to believing like I did like 2 weeks ago. I thought, you know what, Trump might be a little bit full of shit or whatever, but he believes in his message. He believes America First, No New Wars. Now, he doesn't, clearly. So I can't believe anything that comes out of this administration's mouth.
This operation, it was flawless, it was perfect, it was executed with extraordinary skill, and I think demonstrates the capabilities we have, which no other country in the world has anything remotely close to this.
Secretary, what does the road ahead look like from a military standpoint in the U.S. regarding Iran over the near term?
Well, we've achieved. Yeah, we've achieved our objective. Our objective was to severely degrade and or destroy 3 nuclear sites inside of Iran. One of them had 60% enriched uranium. 60%. Remember, you only need like 3.
In America, we're good faith, right? We're good faith. When we told Iran we were going to negotiate for 2 more weeks and then hit them, bombed them. Yeah, we're totally always the good guys. We're the good guys going around fucking overthrowing democratically elected politicians. We're the good guys. We're the good guys.
0.67% for a nuclear power plant. You only need 20% enriched, very small quantities for like medical isotopes and that kind of thing. The only countries in the world that have anything close to 60% enriched uranium are countries that have nuclear weapons. They have stored 60% enriched uranium in one facility there called Esfahan. They were threatening to create even more of it. And then they had all these centrifuges that were capable of enriching up to weapons grade at 90%, buried in mountains. I know, but it's all for peaceful purposes. Give me a break. Everybody gets it. Unfortunately, they've been able to get away with that game for a long time. Those were the objectives last night. We hit 3 nuclear-related sites controlled by the Iranian regime. And now what happens next will depend on what Iran does next and the regime does next. If they attack us, it would be a terrible mistake on their part. There are a lot of...
So they can attack Israel, but not us, basically. Is that what I'm... Because they have already attacked Israel. Okay, I mean, I agree. They could attack Israel. Israel started a war with them, and they're going to attack each other, and we will not get involved as long as they don't attack us. But yet, we already attacked them, so we know they're going to attack us.
They are completely vulnerable, completely vulnerable. They don't control their own airspace. They can't protect their own airspace. They can't even protect their own leaders. So I think it would be a big mistake if they did anything against us. But look, they'll have to make that decision, and the president will respond accordingly and decisively.
Don't be scared, Joe.
But no one, after last night, should be under any illusions. When Donald Trump says he's going to do something, when the president says this president says he's going to do something,
which you should be scared of, because I don't think Iran is going to do any. I mean, maybe they might sneak. This is the part to be scared of. An increase in terrorism, because we've seen a huge decrease in terrorism as we decoupled from these fucking foreign wars in Islamic countries. We've seen less terrorism in this country. Well, now we're probably going to see more. And the scary part is maybe somebody sneaks in a dirty bomb, something like that. That's terrifying. But Iran's not going to be able to do shit to us. Here's the real fear is long term. We go in there, we do regime change, we spend we spend an ungodly amount of money, trillions and trillions and trillions, furthering increasing our debt, furthering the inability for American citizens to buy a house. For their money's not going to go as far. It barely goes far anymore. It's going to go less far. And we will essentially destroy the financial future of this country. Not for the rich, not for the elite, not for the politicians, but for the average citizens who, our politicians have proven that they don't give a shit about.
something. He's not just wasting words. He means it.
So was it fair to say they were 1 week away from having a nuclear weapon? And is that all destroyed at this point? Is that gone?
I think it's fair to say they have everything you need to make a nuclear weapon. Everything. They have the enrichment capability.
I get it, Zato. He said everybody loves to be upset about something. I get it, Zato. I can get upset. I can be passionate about little things that don't really matter. But to me, this is a big deal. This is one of the reasons I got so involved in politics. I would have never got involved in politics if it wasn't for the forever wars. The George Bush war on terror bullshit. That's what got me involved. I wanted to see an end to that. I wanted to see a return to let's focus on our country. Let's stop kicking the hornet's nests. It's not our job to go around policing other countries and telling them how to live. We don't want somebody doing that to us. We shouldn't be doing that to them. So this to me is a big deal. This was probably my number one thing that I got involved with politics again, or that got me involved in politics, was fighting against this kind of shit. So when the people that we put in charge to fight against this kind of shit become the new purveyors of this shit, that is kind of devastating. It is pretty devastating, and it's going to blackpill many Trump voters in the future. They probably won't return to voting for a long time.
They have highly enriched uranium in sufficient quantities to make at least 9 or 10 bombs. All they have to do is spend a couple days enriching it from 60 to 90%. We're certain they have a weapons design. They have mid-range missiles. They have short-range missiles that they could put warheads on. And by the way, they claim to have a space program. It's not a space program. Iran's not going to the moon. They have a space program because they're trying to develop ICBMs, long-range rockets that could one day reach the United States the way North Korea can already reach the United States with their ICBMs.
I know a lot of you saying you regret your votes for Trump. I still think, it could have been so much better if he would have stuck with his no new wars shit. At the end of the day, it still might be 10%, 15% better than Kamala, because at least, I know I don't want to defend Trump right now. I'm pissed off at him, but the reality is still getting the border cleaned up. But I don't know. There's so many other things he's dropping the ball on. But it's still if it's 10% better than Kamala, it's still 10% better than Kamala, because Kamala was probably going to, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they would have avoided this and Obama came up with another deal to send him a bunch of money and blah, 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 blah. Maybe that would have been better. Maybe in that case, Kamala would have been better, but I doubt it, because to me, it's all the same party. It's all the same uniparty behind the scenes. So it didn't matter if it's Democrats or neocons. We were going to get this result. That's why we thought Trump was the option to not get this result, but it didn't matter. The neocons and neolibs are going to get what they want.
That's what they're working on. They have all the pieces in place to have a nuclear weapon. All that's missing is flipping the switch. But in terms of all things you need, all the structures, all the science, all of that, they had it all in place. Now, not so much. And that's why we did the world a great favor. Or we would all wake up one day in less than a decade in a world where radical Shia clerics control nuclear weapons capable of reaching not just the Middle East, but all of Europe and potentially the East Coast.
What they're afraid of is at that point they won't be able to invade Iran, and their little fucking regime change, steal the oil from the Middle East plan would have been dead on arrival once they get nukes. That's the real fear. The real fear isn't that Iran's going to use the nukes. It's that that's it. We can't invade them anymore, and we've just lost control of all those resources that we want to fucking steal from them.
To the United States, that is an unacceptable risk. There's no way we were leaving that for future generations.
Give it a couple months, we'll be in a full-blown war, in a full-blown regime change, unless somebody comes to their senses, Dodge Hodler, and decides to fucking step back from this constant escalation. But it doesn't seem like anybody's going to do that. They just keep escalating and escalating.
Secretary, final question here. Do you expect Iran to move to close the Strait of Hormuz to try to disrupt oil transportation across the world?
Well, I encourage the Chinese government in Beijing to call them about that because they heavily depend on the Straits of Hormuz for their oil. If they do that, it'll be another terrible mistake. It's economic suicide for them if they do it. And we retain
but they wouldn't do that because that's economic suicide. But they would use a nuke, which would be actual fucking suicide. But, no, they won't shut the strait down. Economic suicide. Oh, but they will use a nuke and commit actual fucking... Make it make sense.
Options to deal with that, but other countries should be looking at that as well. It would hurt other countries' economies a lot worse than ours. It would be, I think, a massive escalation that would merit a response, not just...
Zato, you realize what we did in 1953, right? You realize they tried to nationalize their oil, and we went in there in 1953, and we fucking did a regime change coup with Britain, and that was the birth of British petroleum on that stolen oil from Iran. So yes, Zato, we've done this before, and we seem to like following the same fucking blueprints that we followed in the past, bro. Like this. Blueprint with Iran is a retread of the Iraq blueprint.
By us, but from others. So look, they're gonna say what they need to say. You know, these are the things that need to happen for their own internal politics and so forth. But in the end, we're going to judge them by the actions that they take moving forward. We had 3 objectives. We struck those 3 objectives with decisive force, and that was the point of this mission, and that's what we achieved. What happens next will depend on what they do. They want to negotiate, we're ready to negotiate. They want to get cute and do things that are dangerous, we have responses available that are devastating.
Secretary, was China complicit? We know that jets flew into Iran. We don't know what were on those jets.
No, we don't have any evidence that the Chinese were involved in anything other than perhaps trying to get Chinese nationals out of Iran.
Okay. Secretary, thank you very much for joining us.
I'm Steve Doocy. I'm Brad.
Yeah. All right, I played that for you, Green Juice. That was hard because I hate listening to Rubio. I hate looking at his stupid face. I hate neocons. I thought we were getting rid of them. I thought we were killing off the old neocon establishment. Boy, was I wrong. Boy, was I wrong. I think Buddha said Iraq had nothing to do with oil. Correct me if I'm wrong, Buddha, but wasn't Iraq really about the end game being Iran the whole time? Right? Like the end game's kind of always been Iran. Seems like it. And then there are people are writing books now like, oh, we should have always invaded Iran. Iraq was a mistake, and Afghanistan, all these were mistakes. We should have gone to Iran instead. And it's like, so you could get 10 times the disaster that we got out of Iraq? That was always the plan, I think, to take Iran. That was the end goal of all of it. And they're not just going to give up on that, man. They come in their pants every night just thinking about it. Oh my God, I cannot wait till we fucking get Iran. Oh, where's that picture of John McCain? Oh, John McCain, I miss you, John McCain. All right, boys, y'all have a wonderful night. Don't worry, we're going to be fine. We're going to be fine for now, but in 10 or 20 years, we'll probably have so much inflation. I mean, we'll probably, be eating bread and fucking crackers for dinner. Yep. All right. Thank you, guys. Thank you, everybody who sent super chats. Love you guys. We'll see you tomorrow. I'm going to do a lot of them this week. Like I said, I should have Chase Geiser from InfoWars tomorrow, and we'll be talking more about this. We'll see what other developments are going on. I'm sure there'll be more developments. Might even be a debate if I can get someone on. No, it won't be a debate. It'll be a conversation between two sides that disagree. If I can find somebody who's pro America bombing Iran. All right. Thank you guys. We'll see you on the next stream. Have a good night's sleep. Don't worry. Don't worry. Nothing's going to happen. It's going to be no war. Everything's going to be peaceful. Dream about butterflies and unicorns. Everything will be fine. Love you guys. See ya on the next episode of the Pink Trip Show. All right. I got to figure out how to turn this off. I almost forgot. I got to time this better. This is very bad timing. Very bad timing. All right. Take care, everybody.